That's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's my team. It's my NFL team.
Okay, because I thought maybe you were doing like John Cena's theme there. I've tried to.
Wow! Bum bum bum. I don't intend to subject all of you, especially right now, those of you that bleed Carolina silver and blue. I don't mean to subject you all to my needless, wanton, careless, and frankly, entirely inconsiderate elation here on a Monday morning. But I'm gonna for just a minute. We got plenty of time to talk about what was a devastating football weekend for many of you. But I'm gonna talk about me first. We'll talk about me first. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to like rub salt in wounds, as the old proverb goes. I don't want to make things worse for many of you than they already are, but I must apologize. No.
Who are the many of you that you're talking about?
I mean, Gamecock fans, Panther fans.
Okay.
Florida State fans.
I don't.
What a freaking joke they are.
Yeah, I still come away from Saturday very positive for the future, even though there was some team got screwed over just a little bit.
I know the Bengals, dude. That's awful. Okay, I don't believe that. It was a good call. All right. I'm sorry, Bengals fans. I love Joey B too. It was a good call. Your boy kind of rocked the receiver there. That's not. I am absolutely team Mahomes has been bailed out many times in his career. Yesterday wasn't one of them. It was a good call. You're going to need to step back, Bengals fans. Sorry.
I don't really know any of those. Well, maybe I know one person. Stop all the whining.
I mean, listen, you know, it's people are going to have an emotional response to football. It's what they do. That's why we love football. It's an emotional game.
My team was not the villain until the last couple of years, and now they are. Whatever.
That is part of it.
I can embrace the heel. I'm okay with that. I'll be the bad guy for a while.
They're literally showing it right now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's definitely past interference.
You can't go through the guy to try. I mean, it's just come on.
Yeah, I am. Listen again. Patrick Mahomes has been bailed out by flags many times in his career.
Hey, Mahomes.
This wasn't one of them.
Mahomes tried to give that game away.
He also did. He was not great down the stretch.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was not great down the stretch. But we're going to come back to that. All right, we're going to circle back around to that because and to the not one but two individuals who texted me this yesterday.
Oh, look, disheveled. Look at his hair.
He's disheveled. Needs an extra round of the head and shoulders. I think. Needs mini Troy to come up in there and tell him, get his look right, get his vibe right, Pat. To the two people who texted me yesterday, and to the at least one smart ass out there that's getting the texting thumbs ready at 6:04 in the morning. No, I shan't be apologizing to Dennis Allen because this fix ain't Dennis Allen. This fix is Clint Kubiak. This fix is the new offensive coordinator. This fix ain't DA. This fix is Clint Kubiak, the new offensive coordinator. By the way, that is Lonzo. If I'm doing my math correctly, that is now 18 offensive possessions for the New Orleans Saints. 16 of them scores, 2 of them kneel downs. The Saints threw, and I'm gonna knock on wood so hard that I may indeed break a finger here.
I'm not sure that's real wood. So I mean, if you believe in that sort of thing, it's
knock on particle board.
It kind of has wood in it, I suppose.
Knock on particle board. Lonzo, the Saints haven't punted this season. We're 2 full games in. We put up 47 and 41, and it could have been 50 yesterday, but we pulled up late.
I'm surprised you ain't wearing your cowboy hat today. Doing the old Stephen A. How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? What a dub for the boys. We're going to talk. We're going to talk some NFL. We're going to talk a lot of NFL today because a lot of NFL needs to be talked about. What a wild week 1 yesterday, right? What a wild week. We had multiple division round winners yesterday go down to like Teams we thought were going to be bad.
It was week 2.
That's what I said. What a wild week it was.
No, you said what a wild week 1.
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
No.
You did.
No.
You did.
No.
You absolutely did.
No. Definitely didn't.
All right, because you're having a monumental week, and it's probably getting a little bit of case of the nerves. You're gonna, which is weird, but still, it's a thing. And yeah, you definitely said week 1.
And even if I did say week 1,
I really don't give a.
Yeah, you do.
I don't.
You want to be accurate.
Don't care. Hey, we got a busy show lined up for you today.
Because how could it be week 1 if your team is already
Okay, I
played
got
2
it.
games?
I got it. All right. I got it. I screwed up. Whatever. The point here is,
I'm not gonna see you for like 2 weeks.
yeah, just get it all out now.
So well, no, I got tomorrow too.
No, it's not. It's 2 weeks from today is the next time I'll be back.
Right.
Yeah.
Which would be,
But you'll see me tomorrow. So
I said like 2 weeks.
So technically,
right.
it's
right.
less than 2 weeks.
But
you said 2 weeks.
No, I did not. I said like 2 weeks. So which would be, almost 2 weeks, but not quite.
Okay. All right, Chris. All right. Listen. Hey, speaking of Chris, we got a busy show lined up for you today. Because not only do we have a lot of NFL coming up, we got a lot of South Carolina Gamecock football to discuss today. Because pain, suffering.
And excitement for the future.
Gotta be. Does it make what happens sting less? All right. I think those two feelings, those two emotions coexist in this world. Feelings and emotions of having that game ripped away from you on one hand, and yeah, optimism, confidence. Would you look at that? The boys came out, they punched LSU in the teeth, and they executed.
Just want to point, I was excited. I was into Saturday and just, and then yesterday I'm just calm and evil. Evil.
Yeah.
Evil because of the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm calm and even the entire time. My wife is going, I can't watch football anymore. She's like, why are you not upset? Because it's going to come down to the final, whoever has the ball last. That's how it happens with the Chiefs. But South Carolina, that was a roller coaster, dude.
It was, and we are going to talk about it. And not only are we going to talk about it this AM, I'm sure a couple of times between here and there at 7:40 a.m., the host of the Carolina Gamecock pre- and halftime shows and the 913-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association's Sports Broadcaster of the Year, Chris Miller, is going to join us and make his Rob Brown Show debut at 7:40. At 8 o'clock, we're going back-to-back Gamecocks as Lulu Kesson of the Greenville News joins us at 8. At 8:20, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast will join us to break down what happened yesterday. And then,
like a lot of misery.
it's going to be Sad Boy Hour.
Wow.
It's going to be Sad Boy Hour. All of that coming up. And then at 8:40, we end Sad Boy Hour as we are going to be joined, as we always are on Mondays at 8:40, by John Blau of the Post and Courier, where we'll talk a little Clemson football. Rob, why are you talking about my Gamecocks today? Because the Clemson Tigers didn't play this weekend. You play this weekend, ACC debut, when you take on NC State. And that's a big game. All right. So to the texter who is already at 608, why aren't you talking about my Tigers? We're going to relax. As my mother would say, take a chill pill, son. We are 8:40. John Blau will be here.
It was a very, very big phrase back in our day.
Yeah, no, I know. It used to be a thing like the kids said, and then suburban moms co-opted take a chill pill, bro.
I think it's more of an 80s thing because my wife still says that.
It was an 80s thing.
Yeah.
Now it's a suburban mom thing.
Wow, look at you trying to be corrective.
That's all I'm doing the rest of the day.
This is like
rest of the day. You started this.
You're like an airport guy. You need a couple of flashlights. Maybe I can find some. By the way, if you're feeling brave later, I've got a taste test for you if you want to try it.
Ooh, what?
I've got Coke flavored Oreos in there.
Oh, you know what I really wanted to try? The Oreo flavored Coke.
Which I also
you have that too?
in the fridge.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
No, I already did it, but you can.
I'm doing it.
Okay. All right.
100% I'm doing that.
All right.
100. I have one. I'm glad you did. I hunted down Oreo flavored Coke. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find it this weekend. So I'm real glad you came through.
Give you your very own mini can.
Yes. Can't wait. Can't wait. I wanted to try. Now I'm going to have one mini can and one cookie.
By the way,
because Daddy's getting married in 5 days.
Yeah. Well, it's
6
not,
days.
It's not going to make you blow up in the suit.
No, the problem is that if I have to say one now, because if I eat one and it turns out they're freaking delicious, then I'm just going to raid the rest of the pack.
Well, maybe you don't have to worry about that. Maybe they're nasty.
Maybe
maybe they're absolutely delicious and I saved just enough for you.
That one is the one I project to be accurate. We'll find out, but that one is the one I project to be accurate. All right, Joe said the Mets and the Braves are tied again, right? We are going to talk some baseball today, too. Let me tell you how this works, kids. Programming note, for those of you who are unaware, I don't know how you could be. I saw I saw a, hilariously enough, I saw a post on Facebook the other day connected to the station. I don't know who it was. It was while I was doing show prep and his Alonzo will attest. I was running real behind today, okay? Today's a bad day. No, it's not bad. Today's a great day.
Little bit. I mean, you made it.
I was a full hour behind today, all right? I usually try to be up in here about 4:30, 4:35 at the latest. I got here today at like almost 5:40. I'm off today, all right? The alarm didn't have the intended impact. I had one of those mornings where, and this happens about 3 times a year, I don't remember waking up to turn off the alarm. I just remember the lady friend reaching over, slapping me on the shoulder and going, "Hey, dude, it's 10 after 5. And going, uh-oh. So way behind. But as I got here this morning, I put together the sports flash. I perused all the social media that I peruse every morning to find out what we're talking about. And I saw a post that was like, "We get it, Rob Brown, you're engaged. We get it, Rob Brown, you have a fiance. We get it. You talk. Okay, what do you want, dude? I'm getting married this weekend. Like, yeah, I'm a little excited. You'll have to bear with me."
For all you people who are tired of it, I mean, this is it. You got today and tomorrow, and you don't hear about it again until he comes back and describes how wonderful his exotic honeymoon was.
Exotic St. Augustine. So the point here is, I will be here today. I shall be here tomorrow. I love you tomorrow. And then I'm out for the rest of the week, all next week. The next day I am back is the last day of September, Monday, September 30th. I make my triumphant return to the airwaves.
We will wake him up when September ends.
Wake me up when September. Wait, sorry, you got to do it green. Wake me up when September ends.
Still not whiny.
Village Armstrong.
Still not whiny enough.
So I'll be back September 30th, but you got me today, you got me tomorrow. I am out the rest of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I am out all next week as I will be traveling around the wonderful Sunshine State. Exotic Sunshine State, and make my return back on the 30th of September. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. So, all that being said, let's have some fun.
Hey, did you know that the Saints won?
I sure did. By a lot, too. I'm good if we want to make a habit of that. By the way, can I get you all to put some damn respect on the name Derek Carr, future first ballot Hall of Famer? Y'all thought I was joking? Y'all thought I was playing? Y'all thought I was kidding when I told you Derek Carr's a dude and you all went, "Yeah, whatever, Rob, you're just a homer." No, I'm not. The kid can ball. When he's healthy, when he's got an O-line, and when he's got some targets, the kid can ball. Back-to-back games going for that's 47 and 41 points. I'm bad at math, but that's 88 points in 2 games. That's 44 points per game. There are some NFL teams that won't score 44 points in a game. We're averaging it. Granted, I'm saying all this now. We're going to get our asses kicked this weekend because that's the way the world works. But for now, ride that high. All right, we're going to go to a break because Rob's going to do his best to stay on the clock today. Because, again, we got a very busy schedule. We got a lot of football between here and 7:40. Chris Miller, host of the Gamecock pregame and halftime shows, is going to join us at 7:40. Lulu Kesson at 8 o'clock from the Greenville News to talk Gamecock football. Rashad Beard at 8:20 to do group therapy with all of you Panthers fans. And then at 8:40, John Blau with the Post and Courier joins us on the phone. And then the last hour of the show, whatever you want to talk about, because I don't care. I have senioritis for the next 2 days. Let's have some fun. Rob Alonso and you, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
Bourbon.
All right, guys, quick live read out of the gate. We're back. Stay right there. Thank you. All right, dudes, we back. Good morning, everybody.
I don't know. Do I go overweight lead singer from a rock band from the 90s, or do I pull the hair out? I don't know yet. Every rose has it.
You too. It does look like Axel.
No. That's not. No. Wrong band.
Okay, that's Brett Michaels and Poison.
Yes.
But you do look like Axel.
No. Look like fat Brett Michaels. Without the makeup. I mean, I could get.
Put the guy liner on.
I could probably borrow some. There's probably someone around here who has some. I bet Tim has some. Let me go ask Tim. This is I gotta bring the hair out because it's too Hulk Hogan-ish, brother. Or now I'm having flashbacks.
Wesley, do you mean in a game all season, or do you mean all season?
I think he means all season. I'm pretty sure he means all season, and he might be accurate. You want to make fun of me about what I'm doing with my hair? It's because you're jealous.
Haters, man. The haters, man. Oh, you know what I need to find out I can do? I need to find out if I can record.
No, I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, dude. I feel righteous.
Righteous. Will Cool Edit record if I do this?
For what?
It will. I've been wondering if I could edit sound while we're on the air, because like the only issue I've ever had with bringing my laptop over here is that I can't run over there during breaks and grab extra bytes. But apparently I can. I just have to take it.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I just switch it over to the computer
Okay,
audio,
well,
and then
next time warn me, because your pod is up and that could have went on the air. I just that would be frowned upon by the power that be.
I didn't miss Bad Blood. Is Bad Blood's this weekend, right? Upcoming?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
I don't know if it is indeed this weekend, but I know it hasn't happened yet. No, it's actually on October 5th.
Oh, we got a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Good, because if it was next week, I couldn't watch it. South Carolina fans devastated. A 36-33 win by the LSU Tigers in Columbia, South Carolina. Let's start with this. Zoe, all the things that I wanted to see outside of a W, we saw. I thought that the game day environment was as good as we've seen this year. I thought that the South Carolina fans.
McAfee was a little over the top with with a certain word.
I don't think so at all.
Said way too many times.
I love it. I love it. I want you to know the absolute, and this is not even a joke. The absolute biggest struggle for me in this job, without a question, hands down, the absolute biggest struggle for me in this job has been to make it 4.5 years and not have yet referred to them as that. All right? Not yet have referred to them as what McAfee said a bunch of times early in the show, because of course he did, because he's a bro. I'm sure, and actually I think I recall a former employee saying that many, many times. Yeah, I don't think and then doing the right. I could go on for like 3 hours. I don't think. All right, there's really only two things. As radio guy Rob, there's really only two things that I don't have a problem saying, but I don't say them on the air. And it's not because I have a problem with them, but just I feel like they're in that gray area where I don't know. I don't say bleeped off. All right. I say it all the time away from the station. I don't say it on the air. I feel like it's in that gray area. And I have yet to refer to the South Carolina's football team as the monosyllabic version of their name. Again, I say it all the time when I'm not on the air. I just feel, and I don't think I'd get in trouble if I say it, right? I don't think I'd get in trouble. I don't even think Lonzo would hit the yellow button. I have said this before, but for people who haven't listened, I used to do a Gamecock show for 14 years. And one of the program directors thought it was funny to say me and the
and my co-host at the time were two of the biggest cock lovers in the upstate.
Oh, Lonzo said it. I'm cleared.
Yes.
I'm cleared.
Well, because the program director said it, and I was so mad about it. But that program director has been like at 25 different stations so far. But so I mean, so I don't know if it, but I am quoting what he put on our intro, which had to play every week. So of course I fixed it to try as much as I could by putting sound bites around it, including a former news person going, I don't get it. You know, that's how I countered him. And I was like, come on, dude.
Sometimes you got to lean into it.
So I was like, why are you doing this? Because it's funny. I was like, yeah, but it's messed up. Well, you're just gonna have to deal with it if you want to do the show. Okay, fine, punk. Man, I hate you.
If I was an evil person with sound editing software, but I'm not. So I'm not. And I'm in a wonderful mood this week, so I'm not gonna do that.
If you want to grab it, go ahead. Because all it does is it makes me mad. Look at me. It makes me mad.
It's the other reason.
Because of what a punk move that was by some short guy in power.
All right. So the Gamecocks on Saturday. Let's start with, we're going to come to what happened on the field here in just a minute, but let's start with the lead up to it. I thought game day was as good as it got. All right. Do I think that it was like an all timer? Do I think it was like one of those things that in 4 or 5 years, they're going to hearken back to when game day came to Columbia, South Carolina? No, but let's also talk about the fact
what more
that
could they have done for it to be an all timer? Those kids were up before 6 o'clock, and that place was packed.
It was a good turnout. They showed a couple of aerial sites. It wasn't like, the entire stadium was. It was good. It was a very good turnout. Was it an all-time turnout? No, it wasn't an all-time turnout. Was it a very good turnout considering there was weather in the area? Absolutely. Considering it was a noon game, which also meant that, I don't know about you, I'm being the stadium an hour before kickoff guy. All right, I'm going in the second the gates are open. I like watching pre-games. I like watching warm-ups. I like all the stuff that happens on the field. I'm going the stadium early guy. And since the game kicked off not at the conclusion of game day, the last segment of game day was in the stadium because it was kicking off right then. So for all the folks that had to go inside, and the fact that you didn't get Corso's headgear in front of the throng, so to speak, I thought it was very good. I think you put on the show you wanted to put on.
I thought Don Staley was going to punch him. I know. Did you see the looks she gave him?
I think Don was having a ball.
Yeah, you don't want to make Don mad.
I think Don was having a blast. I think Don had a blast. I certainly think, and again, McAfee's like me. He's a good vibe. When the camera's on, when the mic is on, it's good vibes only. All right? My goal in broadcasting is to never let you guys know if I am having a day. I don't always succeed.
Man, you do a great job at that.
I don't always succeed.
You really do.
But more often than not, if you tune in, rarely are you going to be able to. Now, that may get ruined during the show. Something may happen during the show that wrecks it. But if I'm having a bad day.
I'm not apologizing.
I didn't say it was on you. I just said in general. If I am having a day in my personal life away from the studio, I try to take the football player mentality. I tap the sign above the door when I come in, and we're between the lines. Nothing matters but the game.
He literally does that, which is weird. I just
tap the door.
I've always thought that was weird. But,
when McAfee showed up, it was good vibes only, and I thought the Gamecock fans responded to it. I thought the Gamecock fans were very much in their element. I thought you put on a show, and I'm not the only one who says that because there was a number of recruits at this game, like high-touted recruits, like recruits that you want and Georgia wants, you want and Tennessee wants, and there were quotes all over the internet about how insane it was, about what a vibe it was inside and around the stadium before, during, and after the game. And that, remember, coming into this thing, that's what I said this was about. This was always about. Put on a show that shows that you are a college football destination. Put on a show that shows that if kids want to play in front of a stadium that can be special, that is special, that Columbia, South Carolina is that spot. Forget the results. Forget the records. Point out to them that this is a team that is on an upward trajectory and a fan base that is going to be there, rain or shine. And I thought you did that, Columbia. I thought you did that. I would, for the record, have no problem coming in here if it was disappointing, if it was a letdown, if game day was boring, if the stadium wasn't electric, coming in here and going, you wasted an opportunity. I told you that last week. If you blow this opportunity, I'm going to call you out for it. Nobody gets special treatment around here. I thought you did fine. I thought you did great. I thought the game day electricity was there. I thought the electricity in the stadium was there. Everything that I wanted to see out of you in Columbia this Saturday, I saw. Now, put that to bed because we got to talk football. So let's take a break. And when we come back here in mere moments from right now, 36-33 your final, an absolute dogfight between the Tigers and the Gamecocks, and no shortage of controversy surrounding some, let's say, decisions that were made and whistles that were blown on Saturday afternoon. We're going to talk about that when we come back here in just a minute. I am Rob Brown, the great Milonzo on the ones and twos. The Rob Brown Show continues after this. It is the Fan Upstate. Wesley, I am getting married in the Jax area, though it is not Jax. It is St. Augustine, America's oldest continuously populated city. I will be married in the ancient city on Saturday. St. Augustine is very not Jacksonville, and you can tell because it doesn't suck. So
The ancient city?
the ancient city.
Okay, is that something you made up? Or
No, that's one of the nicknames of St. Augustine, as it is the, again, oldest continuously occupied city in the United States of America.
Okay.
It was established in 15. Hang on, I did the deep dive. 1565 by the Spanish, and has been occupied continuously ever since.
Occupied?
Yes, people have lived there because, and this is the fight, Pensacola was actually established before St. Augustine. However, there was a handful of years where Pensacola was vacated because of hurricanes and natural disasters, and no one lived there. So Pensacola is technically America's oldest city, but St. Augustine, which is like 2 decades younger, has always been occupied. So there's a fight going on because St. Augustine claims to be America's oldest city, though they're not technically. But they say when everybody leaves Pensacola and then they come back 100 years later, that's when you start the age of your city, not the old city.
So if they were to do a cage match, who would win?
Pensacola is the Ohio of the Florida Panhandle.
Are you bringing in a ringer?
St. Augustine,
Okay.
Pensacola. Pensacola don't play. You go hard.
So say, are you bringing in tribal chief to represent?
That is true.
Pensacola?
If we're going about it that direction,
Yeah,
Pensacola very wins. It's not just tribal chief. You get both Usos. Who there's a handful that come out of Pensacola. I'm trying to think of who else. You get Rikishi out of Pensacola, obviously.
Michael Hayes is from Pensacola.
P.S. Michael Hayes?
Yes.
I did not know that.
So is Robert Gibson.
I think I did know that one.
And so is Ricky Gibson. I don't know who that is, but I'm guessing it might be Robert Gibson's brother. So is your boy Leon Ruff. But it's not listing in the other Usos, but that doesn't mean, you know.
A meat stadium. Incredible.
So I knew I wouldn't stay awake, so I didn't buy the pay-per-view Saturday, but I've seen clips of what they
Dude,
did.
it was incredible. I watched the entire thing. It was incredible. It looked so good. And as much as I don't want to give Dana White credit for anything, it was freaking incredible.
All right, so just want you to know, even though that's not on here, it can be picked up on your mic. So if you play something that could flag us,
thanks, Jim.
America.
Merc.
That's something I've never been able to do. Part of it in, but.
All right, there's video of Derek Carr doing the Michael Jackson dance. I know it's not real, but it looks real.
No, it's real.
That's real?
That was his end zone celebration for a touchdown yesterday.
All right. All right.
When I immediately tweeted out Derek Carr is my favorite Saints, or my second favorite Saints quarterback of all time, it was because my man got in the end zone, leg kicked in.
Yeah, but he crotch grabbed, so I'm surprised he didn't get flagged for that.
For what? I mean,
he
didn't do it in anybody's face. I think that's where you.
Yeah, but still, you can also do the throat slash not in someone's face and get flagged. So that's why I'm surprised.
It was incredible. I laughed so hard. My phone blew up. People were like, "Bro, did Derek Carr just hit the MJ?"
It's not bad.
Yes, he did.
It's not bad at all. I mean, there's rhythm in there.
For sure.
I'm a little bit shocked.
And he nailed it.
Yeah, he did.
I'll see if I can find his answer. So let's talk about what happened at the conclusion of the 36-33 dogfight between the LSU Tigers and the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Not one, but two pick sixes were taken off the board by penalties. Here's what I'm going to give you, Gamecock fans, because I think that's the meat and potatoes, right? That's what everybody's upset about. 13 penalties called in this game. 2 of them took 7 points off the board. You were talking about as much as a 28-point swing in the game on 2 flags. Now,
I think there's one flag in particular that everyone's upset about.
There is.
Because I was like, how is that? I don't understand it. And I'm not the only one who didn't.
You're absolutely not. I want to start with the first one, the horse collar. In 2024, a hand inside of the jersey is a horse collar, and the point of contention, there was a rule change this offseason. The horse collar tackle used to be only enforced outside of the tackle box. The rule change for 2024 is that the horse collar tackle, there is no rule exception for anywhere on the field. So a horse collar, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. In both the NFL and college ball, I do not like this. All right. Now, I understand it. There's a difference between understand and like. I don't like that in Georgia, the speed on the interstate is 65. I understand it. It's much, much busier interstate than it is through South Carolina, through Florida, etc. I don't like it because it feels like I'm taking damn forever to get through that state when I can do 70 everywhere else. The horse collar exception, I do not like it, but I understand it. Why don't I like it? Because of exactly what happened in this game. A pass rusher trying to get to the quarterback has a blocker's hands. He is pushing him wide of the quarterback. He reaches out and grabs. I understand protecting the quarterback, but there comes a spot where you got to go. Then you can't tackle him, right? You can't tackle him. However, whether I like the rule or dislike the rule is absolutely inconsequential. It doesn't matter. The rule change this year said that horse collar tackles inside of the tackle box will now be enforced. So that call, as much as it stung, as much as it hurt, that call actually was a correct call per the letter of the law.
Yeah, that one didn't bother me because, I mean, it was blatant. It was obvious. I mean, there's no disputing that was a horse collar.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That was absolutely
I mean, it bothered me that he did it, but it didn't bother me that it was called.
It doesn't even bother me that he did it because there is, I mean, it is what it is. Like,
you grab what you can, and
You grab
sometimes
what
you
you
get
can.
caught grabbing. Yeah.
my man was getting pushed wide of Nussmeier. There really wasn't much that he could do in that situation. He reached out, he got what he could got. Right? So you don't have to like it. That call was correct. The second one. The second one is what everybody is up in arms about. Okay? And when I say everybody, I'm going to say me too. I'm in that discussion with you. I agree with you on that. I am also up in arms about that call. I'm up in arms about that call specifically because I believe that Nussmeier reestablished himself as a defender. If Nussmeier was, and this is the conversation I have. And by the way, as a I don't know what the right word here is. As for full transparency, Jason Autry, the head official in this game. You know how I've told you the story over and over that I used to work with a college football ref?
Mm-hmm.
That's him.
Wow.
That's him. I don't want to dox him, but I worked for him when I worked for a particular county government organization years ago. In a particular county, he was the head of a, I'll just say a department. I don't want to give him away. Because again, what I don't need is for my man to get swarmed outside of his office and go, Rob Brown told us where to find you.
Yeah, you are giving a little too much information because now things can be narrowed down if somebody
Maybe.
wanted to. Yeah, and
Maybe.
we do not condone, nor should you do that.
Nope, not at all. However, I will say that if I still had Jason Autry's phone number, I'd have called him. I really would have. I'd have called him and gone, hey, you have to walk me through this, bud. Like, I know I haven't talked to you in 10 years, but you're going to have to walk me through this one because I don't get it. And I will say this, Jason's a great guy, nice guy, worked with him. In fact, of all the people when I worked in that office, of all the people that I worked with on a direct day-to-day basis, Jason was the only one I went, do you want to go grab lunch real quick? I liked him. I like Jason a lot. Still do like Jason. I think he got a lot wrong. I think they got a lot wrong in this one. So with that being said, let's talk about the second pick six that got taken off the board. Here's what Shane Beamer said when he was asked, what were the explanations you were given by the officials about the two calls?
I think the first one with O'Donnell, they said it was a horse collar on the quarterback. Coaches up top told me that they thought he just grabbed the shoulder pad and pulled him down, but the referee, Jason, he's fantastic, and he told me that he was absolutely certain that when we hit the quarterback that it was a horse collar. So he said it, I'm sure it happened. And then the one at the end with Nick, I watched it. I mean, anytime there's an interception, we tell our guys, find the quarterback and make sure we get him blocked. And it wasn't, it wasn't vicious by any stretch of the imagination, but it's one of those situations. If you're the referee in that situation, it's right in front of you. I mean, I watched it because I looked for the quarterback and I saw it, and can't put ourselves in that position.
Yeah, pretty much it. Okay. So as far as the block on Nussmeier that got the call, let's talk about it. Let's start with this. Nussmeier reestablished himself as a defender. I've watched the clip from every available angle that has been placed on the internet. Okay. Nussmeier throws the pick. After Nussmeier throws the pick, he turns, he runs, he takes about 4 or 5 steps before he is blocked. Number 2, it was a violent block. Now, it wasn't violent in that it was particularly aggressive. It wasn't violent in that the hit was, something that we're going to see on highlight reels. It was a pretty standard block. It's just that Nussmeier wasn't ready for it. He wasn't looking, right? He had his eyes to the left, trying to take a pursuit angle to meet Nick Emanwari and knock him out of bounds and end the run back. So he was looking left. The block came from the right, got him on the shoulder pad, took him down. There was no hit to the helmet. Initially, I thought he got hit in the head. Initially, I thought, all right, if you racked the dude in the dome and he's the quarterback, they're going to call that 100 out of 100 times. But I went back. In fact, I put up a still frame of it from the video itself on my Twitter account at The Rob Brown Show. If you're not following me, please follow me on the X at The Rob Brown Show. I put up a picture of it on Twitter from the video itself. The hands are very clearly on the shoulder. In fact, if you're watching on the stream right now, I'll bring up the still frame that I put up there. But the hands are very clearly on the shoulder, and I think it's frankly it's pretty damn obvious, right? Like, I think it's pretty obvious. Here's a picture up on our stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate. YouTube/thefanupstate, The Rob Brown Show on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Here is the picture of the block as it happened in real time. You can see, it's blurry because this wasn't filmed in 4K, but you can very clearly see the hands are on the shoulder. This is a clean block. However, and this is the part where I think Gamecock fans are frustrated and should be, but I think in that position, you got to know not to hit the guy, or at least not rack him, right? Because it was a good hit. If that hit gets made on an offensive lineman, we're all celebrating it today. If that hit gets made on the running back, we're all celebrating that today. But you have to know, in that situation, you have to know you can't hit that guy. You have to know you can get in front of him, you can screen him, set a pick like LeBron James, but you cannot contact. Rules of the game, you absolutely are. It is not a rough in the passer call. Shouldn't be a rough in the passer call. The end of the day, he's now not only a defender, but a defender that is on his way to intercept the ball carrier. He is a defender on a pursuit angle. To me, it's no different if he's a wide receiver, an offensive lineman, or a running back. He is a defender. He is transitioned out of quarterback into defender with a pursuit angle on the football and is sprinting there. He is on his way to make a defensive play. To me, he gives up the protection of being a quarterback in that spot.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as the ball lands in the hands of the defender, you are no longer on offense.
Correct.
You are on defense. That's what didn't make sense. I have never seen that called ever in my entire lifetime. And it was weird. It's like, okay, is this a new rule? I don't understand where this came from. And yeah, as soon as they intercepted the ball, South Carolina was on offense. And that guy was a defender. And so if he had hit a player other than the quarterback, would that penalty have been called? Probably not. I'm also going to say this, and you don't have to. This is the part Carolina fans aren't going to like. This is the part that you're not going to like. You still got to know that, okay? You still got to know that officials are sensitive to quarterbacks, and you still got to know in that spot, even if he's back involved in the play, even if he's making a play on the ball, you do not violently block him. I'm not saying it's illegal to do so. I'm saying you're going to get a call if you do. I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong. I'm saying the flag's coming out of the waistband if you do. So in that spot, as that player, if you see that quarterback making a play, screen him. Run into him with your chest. Stand in front of him and set a pick. Do anything else. Texter said that second pick six was wiped because of a high block. The guy put a forearm in his helmet. Carolina lost this game, not the refs. They had no game plan after Sellers went out. I'm going to respond to that. Texter, number one, no, he didn't. The hands were on the shoulder pad. I can see it. I've watched the video 100 times. I have the still frame pulled up right now. I'll put it back on the stream if you want to go look at it. It is very clear. Not only did he not put his forearm in the helmet, Texter, he didn't hit him with a forearm. He went with hands and came through it. Yeah, he shoved him and he extended. Yes. Maybe if he hadn't extended, maybe it wouldn't have been flag worthy in that referee's eyes. If it's not a quarterback, it's not a flag, and if he doesn't extend through, it's not a flag. If he just goes up and put hands on him, like you know how when you imitate what an offensive lineman looks like, you put the hands up like that, you chop the feet. If he'd have done that, it probably would have been fine. I am going to say confidently that flag got thrown because it was violent.
That flag got thrown not just because it was violent, but because Nussmeier went to the ground and he stayed down. Remember that? They in fact, you can see it on the Game Time video if you watch it. On the Game Time video, as the camera follows Imanwari out of the end zone and back the other way, when it scans past the original line of scrimmage, you can see Nussmeier on the ground like Peter Griffin in a Family Guy episode. If you get that reference, you're also old. Go get your prostate checked. It's that time.
It's good to know that Clemson fans are up this early, though.
Yeah.
Because not just there, but on the stream. And that's fine. I mean, you don't like the team, so you don't see reasonably. I mean, that's good for you.
I can see reasonably now. Okay. That hit, can't take it off the board. And let me say one more thing. And this is the spot where I'm going to get into a headbutting contest with some people. Texter said, Rob, the fact of the matter is Carolina was ahead 14 points in, let LSU come back and win the game. No reason they should have come back from that much of a deficit and win that game if Carolina was a good team. Stop. I need you all to stop with this mindset. Okay? This whole mindset of, well, if you what I here's the thing. You played the game well enough that even if they came storming back, one play dictates the game. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Welcome to football. One play dictates the game. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do a video today to prove this point. I've been putting this off for a while, but I'm gonna make this video today. I have got a play from the Saints-Panthers game last week that I can utilize to prove to you that if 10 guys get it right and one guy misses his job, a play fails. And that I believe that happens every single snap of the football. If a play does not succeed, it's because either one guy failed on one side of the ball or because somebody on the other side of the ball covered up somebody else's mistake. And I'm going to prove that to you later on today. But put that aside. I don't care. They played well enough to win the game. They played well enough to win the game despite LSU's comeback effect. This call can happen. And keep in mind, if this block comes off the table, if this call comes off the table, that's a 14-point swing.
And by the way, the reason why South Carolina lost really is because Lenore Sellers got hurt. Because the defense for LSU had no idea what to do when he was out there. That 95-yard touchdown, or however long it was, 75-yard touchdown, they were trying to figure out, is he going to run? Is he going to throw? And he started nailing some of his throws. Some were still a little bit high. But if he was able to play in the second half, it's a different story. And because I am so excited for the Gamecocks because of what Lenore Sellers can be if he continues to improve, which he has week to week. Think of what he's going to be like in another year.
Kid's going to be a stud. Now, two things. Number one, I am going to say in regards to the texter who said, oh, they didn't have a plan after Sellers went out. You understand? With all due respect to Robbie Ashford, who seems like a great kid. I came over from Auburn. Keegan's a fan, said, hey, he's a great dude, but at the end of the day, if it ain't a bomb or a run, he can't do it. He doesn't have a mid-range game. He can either tank it down there for you or he can take off running. There's no threat outside of that. Once Sellers leaves the game, and by the way, let's not pretend like if Klubnik leaves the game against NC State, it's any different. Yeah, your entire game plan changes, and you are limited. If Robbie Ashford was as good as Lenore Sellers, he'd probably be the starter because he's got SEC experience that Sellers does not. Right? So this whole thing of, oh, yeah, well, you didn't have it. Guys, you know why they didn't have a great game plan drawn up for Robbie Ashford when he came in? Because he ain't as good as Lenore Sellers. With all due respect to Robbie Ashford, again, seems like a great kid. I was pulling for him. But at the end of the day, the whole mindset of next man up, how many times do I have to say this? It's next man up because the next man ain't as good as the man. That's why he's the man. So, of course, they took a step back when their starting quarterback went down. Of course they did. And yet they still did enough to win. And this happened. We're going to talk more about it. Water cooler cheat sheet coming up next. Then we'll talk more about that. Then we got Chris Miller in an hour. Then we got Lulu Kessing coming up. Then we got Rashad Beard. Then we got John Blau. And then the last hour belongs to you, the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate.
Over the weekend, the Atlanta Braves took the first 2 of the 4 games set against the LA Dodgers, but dropped Game 3 last night, 9-2. The game was tied entering the 9th inning, but Raisel Iglesias had his worst inning of the year, giving up 5 hits and 5 runs in the final 3 outs to allow the Dodgers to pull away. The Braves and the New York Mets are currently tied for the final wildcard playoff spot with 13 games remaining. Frustration is growing in Charlotte as the Carolina Panthers were blown out again, this time by the LA Chargers, 26-3. Bryce Young went 18 of 26 with a career low of 84 passing yards and 1 interception, while Carolina recorded just 90 rushing yards on the day compared to LA's 219. Panthers dropped to 0-2 to start the season. They tune in this Saturday at 4:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the William and Mary Tribe. It's Furman versus William and Mary right here on your home for the Paladins, the fan upstate. Wow, I can't believe it. I've done screwed myself up. Don't tell Steven I messed up. He doesn't like that. What, this season, Zach? I don't know. Maybe if they go 0-4. I don't know who Baltimore plays next, but I doubt they go 0-4.
Say his name and he appears. I believe.
No, you don't. Why do you got to stop?
Mason, do you think we're not talking about that today, buddy? Sure are. London, Paris, Tokyo.
Okay, Zach, I don't know. Maybe they will go 1-3 because Dallas is going to be pretty upset about getting beat by that amazing New Orleans Saints team.
Who that, baby? Like I told you all along, we are going to be good this year. Been saying it the whole time.
Never a doubt in his
Never a
mind. This might as well be the Saints show with as much times he's talked about how good they were going to be.
Just all the love, bro. Nothing but love.
I'll give you guys the same message I just gave them. You haven't had your ass whooped before you just did. And it hurts. And it's not easy. But in this game, that's going to happen. And it's a part of the game. It stinks. Doesn't mean you didn't work hard. Doesn't mean you didn't prepare. It means you didn't get the job done. Whether it's a 1-point loss or a 34-point loss. Good old-fashioned ass whooping at home, which works.
Are those worse when you're not at home? I mean, not as bad when
I
you're.
think it hurts more when
Does
you're
it?
at home.
Okay. All right. I mean,
Stopped by 34 at the house.
Also, Mason, what's his we stuff? Oh, you mean Rob? Can Rob finally? I don't know. Bourbon, next break.
Bourbon next break.
The commercial, not the actual drink, because that would be bad if you were doing that on the air. I mean, who knows what he does when he leaves the room, though? I don't know.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real damn good, Corey LaJoy. Welcome back. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Happy Monday, my dudes, dudettes, amigos, amiguettes. It is spectacular to have you here on the show. I am Rob Brown, the great Lonzo, on the ones and twos this AM. To the disbelief of many of you, you are welcome to join the show. In fact, there's many ways to do it. The first is on the Renewal by Interstate of the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663. That's 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. Gamecock fans looking for you this morning. Your reaction to the weekend. Because I got to think on one hand, ouch. On one hand, bummer. On one hand, woof. On the other hand, as Lonzo pointed out, a lot of reasons to be excited. A lot of positives to take away from that contest against LSU. A lot of positives to take away from the game day environment, the stadium environment, which has recruits that were there absolutely buzzing. Lots of positives to take away. Panther fans, looking for you. Rashad Beard coming up at 8:20 this morning to talk a little Carolina Panther football with us here on the show. We'll talk to Rashad and see how he's feeling. Spoiler alert, not great. I watched, he went live yesterday. I popped in. I'm like, oh, I got to hear what my guy's saying. Rashad's not good right now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Not good.
I don't want to go. I mean, I don't want to share in his misery by watching how bad he feels right now.
Yeah, it's
not. Yeah.
I told him, I'm like, bro, come on. I'll be your therapist. I'll give you a free therapy session. That's all this is going to be. Just free therapy session.
As my wife said, I'm loosely quoting here, is it over yet? It's like, yes, it's been over for a while.
It was
but
over.
We're still watching this because
for the record,
it's work.
For the record, they were competitive till damn near halftime. Not all the way till, but damn near halftime, which was more than last week. It's a step forward. And by the way, you turn around and watch the team that beat you last week, and everybody was all, the Saints went to Dallas and hung 41 on their ass. And Dallas was supposed to be a runaway NFC East champ.
It's not working. I mean, you're trying really hard, though, because what the Panthers have put out there the last 2 weeks is what they're going to do probably every week, and that's unfortunate.
We're going to talk about that with Rashad Beard coming up in just a little bit over an hour from right now. Chris Miller, host of the Carolina Gamecock pregame and halftime show, is going to join us here in about 35 minutes. Also, the 917-time SCBA Sports Broadcaster of the Year.
I
can't get him.
I hope he gives you a hard time because you deserve it.
He's not. He's the nicest person in America.
Well, I'm going to egg that on because
it's not going to matter.
I was somewhere that you were not, and he was unhappy.
Oh, he may give me hell for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean,
but he's not the dude that's going to come up in here and be like, "Hey, what's up, runner up?" Which is completely understandable.
I'm also regretting giving you that trophy. I should have kept that thing.
I told you to.
You expected me to keep it. So
I did.
So
I told you to.
I guess as a true contrarian, I gave you the trophy.
You should. You know what you should do, Lonzo? Definitely don't give me $100 right now. Definitely don't. Oh, we work in radio. Never mind.
No, that sucks for you because that might have been precisely what I was going to give you as a wedding gift.
All right. Yeah, tell you what, 7:05. We got to stay on the clock. We're disciplined, all right? Gamecocks, stay disciplined. I will say this, biggest problem you had, lack of discipline in the biggest moment. And that is something you only learn. That's something you only learn by losing it. Lack of discipline in the big moment. We'll talk more about that. But we're staying on the clock today, which means at 7:05, you're almost there. 55 minutes. You got to clock in. It's Monday. Nobody wants to go to work on Monday. What do you want to do on Monday? You want to take your break. You want to walk down the hall. You want to go talk to Janet from accounting, and you want to talk sports because Janet's awesome. She talks a lot of sports. So if you're going to go talk with Janet, you don't want to look like a clown who doesn't know what he's talking about. You need to know what's going on. And if you need to know what's going on, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying, "Burn it down! Burn it down!" Their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It's the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office this AM and start doing the, work stuff. Ugh. Nobody wants to do that. But you have to, all right? So take your breaks, enjoy your breaks, get out of your breaks, go talk sports. That's what you need the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet for. Let's jump right in. Item numero uno. A pair of stories out of the W lead off the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet. We start with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark set the WNBA rookie season scoring record this past weekend. On Friday, she also set the WNBA rookie season assist record. It was a good weekend for 22. It was a good weekend for the Iowa Hawkeye turned Indiana Fever. First off, she knocked off the assist record on Friday. Caitlin Clark is averaging a league-high 8.4 assists per game, broke the mark of 316. Alyssa Thomas, 316, says, "I just helped your ass."
No.
That works for me. I'm a basketball guy. It's a helper.
We've used it too much lately with
We hadn't
with the
talked
racing,
about
with the racing, and
we haven't talked about Stone Cold Austin Dillon in a hot minute. We will talk NASCAR coming up though, because what the hell happened yesterday at Watkins Glen? I didn't know there was a demolition derby going down. We'll circle back around to that. So let's get to Caitlin Clark. 8 assists on Sunday. Now 329 on the season. Also set the scoring record. 761 points across 39 games. However, the 744, that was the previous record, held by Simone Augustus from back in 2000. Can I tell you what stings? This was set in 2006. I was damn near done with college. Caitlin Clark said, "I got a picture with her on my dad's little phone when I was a kid. It was maybe a BlackBerry back in the day." Dude, I was old enough that I owned a BlackBerry.
yeah, I couldn't afford
Disgusting.
one. I saw them before.
Oh, I couldn't afford one either.
I think maybe I carried one around as an account executive gave me one to carry around to talk about back when they realized I existed. And yeah, that was it. And I was afraid to carry the thing. I'm going to drop it and break it and have to pay for it.
I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch.
Of course you did.
Uh-huh. I know that was coming so that I could afford one. The point here is Caitlin Clark's father took a picture of little girl Caitlin Clark on his BlackBerry, a phone that I was old enough to buy and own on my own. Anyway, the other WNBA story, former South Carolina Gamecock turned Las Vegas ace, Asia Wilson, the first player in WNBA history to hit the 1,000-point mark. She did it in an 84-71 victory over the Connecticut Sun yesterday. Hit the 1,000 mark on the dot with a fadeaway jumper with a .57 left to go in that game. They stopped the game to celebrate Wilson, who is your presumptive WNBA MVP this year. Wilson turned 28 last month, averaging a lead back 27 points, 12 boards, 2.5 blocks, and 2.3 assists, shooting over 51.5% from the field. Her season scoring average is the highest in WNBA history. She's clinched that record, even if she does not score another point in the next 2 games. Spoiler alert, she will. Asia Wilson etches her name in the WNBA record books. Let's get to item number 2. The Bravos are in a dog race for the final wild card. So I say final wild card spot. Honestly, there's really a 4-team race for 2 wild card spots. I'll get to that in a minute. The Bravos took 2 out of the first 3 from the LA Dodgers. They dropped the third in the first 3 out of a 4-game set yesterday, a 9-2 loss. And the thread unraveled late for the Atlanta Braves. The Bravos put up a 2 spot in the bottom of the third. They were able to maintain that until the Dodgers got their second back in the top of the 7th. It was 2-2 going into the 9th, and the wheels absolutely fell off. Raisel Iglesias, who has been a monster for the Atlanta Braves, had his worst outing of the year in just 2/3 of an inning, gave up 4 hits, 5 earned runs, walked 1, K'd 1. Raisel Iglesias gave up 5. They would end up turning after that to John Brebbia. He gave up a pair of runs as well. The Dodgers put up 7 in the top of the 9th and run away from Atlanta 9-2 last night. That's the bad news. The good news is because the Bravos took the first 2 from the Dodgers, they find themselves right now in a tie with the Mets for the wild card. This is interesting. Why? Because these two teams, the Mets and the Braves, are both 2 games back of the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks hold wild card spot number 2. Mets and Braves tied for wild card spot number 3. Why does that matter? That matters because the Braves actually hold the tiebreaker over the Arizona Diamondbacks. They hold the tiebreaker. So if the Mets and the Braves were to both catch the Diamondbacks and those 3 teams were tied for 2 spots, Atlanta would be guaranteed to be one of the teams going in as they hold the tiebreaker over the Diamondbacks. Here's the more interesting part. The Braves and the Mets are tied for the season series betwixt the 2 right now. They have a 3-game set coming up at the end of the week. That 3-game set will determine who has the season tiebreaker between those 2 teams. If the Mets take 2 out of the 3 from Atlanta, they will have the tiebreaker. If the Braves take 2 out of the 3 from the Mets, they will have the tiebreaker. So whoever wins that series, whether it's by 2 games or 3, whoever wins that series will have an advantage. They will not need to outright win the wild card spot over the other. They can play for the tie and get the tiebreaker for that last wild card spot. The other team will have to outright clinch the wild card spot. So that's a big series coming up. We're going to talk more Braves ball later in the show, but let's wrap it up with item number 3. A Palmetto State football update. We begin with South Carolina, 36-33 your final. They fall at home to the LSU Tigers. Lenora Sellers, 9 of 16 for a $113, no touchdowns, 1 interception, but he did run 10 times for 88 yards and a pair of rushing touchdowns. Rocket Sanders finally showed exactly why he got brought from Arkansas to South Carolina. 19 carries, 143 yards, and a pair of touchdowns, including a 66-yard breakaway. Lenoris, of his 88 yards, 75 of it came on 1 touchdown scamper that felt like it was going to put LSU away. Of course, a couple of controversial calls down the stretch would take not 1, but 2 pick sixes off the board for the South Carolina Gamecocks. LSU able, under Brian Kelly, to sneak in down the stretch and get the win. Garrett Nussmeier, 24 of 40, 285, 2 tutties, and a pick for the LSU Tigers. Caden Durham was their leading rusher, 11 carries, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Look, there was a lot of good and a lot of bad for the South Carolina Gamecocks in this one. We're going to keep evaluating that. Coming up here in about 25 minutes from now, Chris Miller, host of the Carolina Gamecock pregame and halftime show, going to join us here on the Rob Brown Show, and we will break this game down a little bit further. To the Carolina Panthers we go, 26-3. They fall at home to the LA Chargers. Bryce Young, 18 of 26, just 84 yards. That is a career low. No touchdowns, 1 interception. The Carolina Panthers just 90 rushing yards in this one. 64 of them belong to Chuba Hubbard. Miles Sanders, 7 carries for just 20 yards. BY had 1 scramble for 6 yards. Tommy Tremble led all receivers, 3 catches for just 23 yards. No other Panther had more than 20. Adam Thielen had 20. Everybody else, 15 or below. On the flip side, Justin Herbert, 14 of 20, $132 tutties and a pick for the Chargers, but it was once again J.K. Dobbins Day for the LA Chargers. The former Buckeye, former Raven turns Charger, 17 totes, $131 and a touchdown on the ground. Listen, you knew stopping the run was always going to be difficult against a Chargers team that built up the offensive line, that brought J.K. Dobbins back from the death knell that he suffered in Baltimore last year. And you did it without Derek Brown. You had a couple of other injuries stack up as well. We're going to talk more about that later on. Rashad Beard joins us in an hour from right now to break that game down. That's all coming up later on in the show. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, we got a lot we need to get to, a lot we need to talk about. We'll run through some of the bigger football stories from the weekend. And then we got Chris Miller to end this hour. Lulu Kesson to start at 8 o'clock. Rashad Beard at 8:20. John Blau at 8:40. 9 o'clock hour. That belongs to you, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Rob Brown Show. You want your phone calls? Next segment, all you got for the next hour. 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. South Carolina fans, Carolina Panther fans looking for you right now on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Urban.
All right, guys, one more read and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Zach, I did not go to college in Santa Rosa Mall in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. But you are correct. It did not have an Abercrombie. That is accurate.
New life next break.
New life next break. Oh, no.
Almost got sucked under the console.
Don't do that. We'll never get you back.
The wheels never moved that smoothly before, except when we first put them on. Yeah, that's what it was.
Come on. Get your damn feet down, you psychopath.
I was just.
What are you doing?
I was.
It's not a damn daycare, Lonzo. What are you doing?
Yeah, but
I just
I'm,
look over and see Lonzo's barefoot elevated up over the desk, showing it on the stream like he's got a damn OnlyFans going over there.
Maybe I'm close to adult daycare, which I mean, you know, at my
Then
age.
go there if you want to shove your feet into. Listen, there's
Would
two
you
reasons.
Visit me?
Not if you're shoving your feet.
I was
Up in
answering.
the
I
air.
was answering a question on the stream.
Then just do it. Use your words, big boy. This is a big boy place. We use our words.
Oh, way to cover the fact that you just called me fat, but that's okay because you're right.
No. What I said is you're not 5. Put your bare ass feet on the floor where feet go. That's gross, dog. I just look over and I'm 3 feet from the sole of Lonzo's foot. Like that's totally
It's
normal.
more like 2.5 feet. I mean, you know, it was great effort for me to get my feet up that high, so I'm pretty excited about that. Flexibility. I turned 56 in like 3 days, and you know, was able to get my feet up there.
No, you get no credit for nothing. Put your feet on the floor. That's where feet go. All right. You want to do gymnastics? As my grandfather Bob Brown Sr. would say, this is not a damn gymnasium.
You should see what I do to your chair when you're not in the room.
Let me catch you. Let me catch you. Let me catch
I
you.
ain't scared of you.
Let me catch you.
You ain't as fast as you think you are.
You're still hurting from bowling
I know.
last week. All right. I feel like I got a shot.
I can fall faster than you can catch me, but anyway, like you can kick me
Put your
while
feet
I'm
on
laying
the
on the
floor.
ground.
Put your feet on the floor.
My feet are on the floor. They're like creeping.
Keep your feet on the
they're
floor.
creeping towards your feet under the console. Though.
See what happens if I see a freaking toe over here. All right. I'm not doing it. We're not doing this.
We just did it. I don't know why you're not doing it.
Chris Miller from the Gamecock pregame and halftime show going to join us coming up in the next segment of the show. Very much looking forward to talking to. I mean, I've talked to Chris before, but this will be our first time having him here on the show. Let's talk a little bit more about this South Carolina loss to LSU. Discipline, man. Discipline. In fact, I even knowing that this was going to be something that was going to pain people, discipline fell apart there for South Carolina down the stretch. I understand. Texas said, bet you wish that glass wasn't so metaphorical now. Correct. I may be going to talk to Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall. Like, can we bring the plexiglass back?
No, we can't.
Lonzo's going to be doing gymnastics
you
over here.
nearly killed us both the whole time that was up, and you don't want to know what was on that thing by the time it was moved.
Not the bottom of your feet.
Dude, my feet are cleaner than what was left on that. That thing was, I mean, I can barely see through that. It wasn't on my side either.
So, discipline fell apart. And I think it was obvious. Now, when Lenoris went down, you were in a challenging spot. It
was deflating is what it was, because you saw the potential, what he was doing so far in that game, how that game started and how exciting it was. The fact that, yeah, not only are they hanging with LSU, they're whipping LSU's butt right now. And then he went down. It's like, okay, not running, by the way. He got tackled in the pocket, if I recall, and that's where he hurt his ankle. And when he came out in the third quarter, he wasn't him. And it's like, oh no, this now the game got a little more even, because at Before that, he was one of the best players on the entire field for both teams.
There is another angle I want to attack. Let's not sit here and pretend like the pass game was exceptional. Okay? Pass game wasn't exceptional. And it's got to get better. The passing game must get better.
It's still either too high or too low. But when he hits, again, I know people hate, well, you're looking at potential. I am looking at potential, and the potential is amazing. If he can get those passes down that are too high, get those passes up that are too low, along with his athleticism and the way he can run the ball, he's got a big future ahead of him.
I want you all to remember that quote in about an hour from now, but hang on to that.
He also needs to wear the goggles. I mean, I think he got, just.
I say, I did feel, I did not like
it's like, who is that?
I know. I'm like, dude, you're represent the nerds, man. So I think the discipline fell apart. Like I said, I believe that the hit on Nussmeier, the block on Nussmeier was clean. I don't think there's any reason for a flag to come out in that spot. Not just in that spot, because I have seen a lot of people trying to make the argument that you can't throw the flag in that spot on that play in that moment of the game. No. As I say all the time, a penalty is a penalty, whether it's the first or last snap of the game. A penalty is a penalty, whether it's the first minute or the last minute of the game. A penalty is a penalty, okay? And I do not think that the circumstances of a game should have any bearing on whether or not a flag comes out or a whistle gets blown. But you have to know that if you put a hit on a quarterback, whether he is involved with the play or not, whether he's involved in the play or not.
No, even the coaches didn't act like they didn't know. Nobody knew this. This is a ridiculous call. Whether that is the reason why they lost the game or not, it's a ridiculous because there's still football to be played after that. It was a dumb call.
Whether or not you like that it is a dumb call, it's gonna get called 99.9% of the time.
All right. Cite me some examples of when this has been called.
Well, this exact example doesn't happen often,
or
but it
ever.
has happened.
Really? Because I know
You're
you
telling
know
me right now, if Mahomes throws that and he gets involved, you think they're no calling that on Pat Mahomes? Guarantee they are. 1,000% would bet my life on it.
That's the NFL. We're talking about college, but you could be right.
That happened to Quinn Ewers, Dylan Gabriel. I guarantee you it's getting called.
I don't think so. Again, I know as a knower of ball, you're also a historian, so you can cite all the times this has happened.
No, I can't. What I can cite.
The fact that I've never seen it happen. And the fact that I believe it was Shane Beamer said he's never seen it happen.
I mean, that's fine. Of course, Shane's going to defend it, or I guess I should say attack it. Look, even if it's never been called, in that moment, and again, I don't think anybody should hammer on that young man, and I better not see a single Gamecock going after the kicker. Not a one of you, all right? Not a one of you. But in that spot, I think you have, and again, heat of the moment, man, heat of the moment. But heat of the moment is when discipline kicks in, right? I don't care what you're doing. In the heat of the moment is when discipline kicks in. That is why you work to become the most disciplined version of yourself, right? Now, I don't care what I'm talking about, work, recreational life, whatever. You discipline yourself so that when it's heat of the moment, you don't have to worry about thinking. I'll give you the biggest thing right now. You know the biggest challenge for Rob Brown has been in his life? And this says a lot about how nice my life is. You know what the biggest thing I've had to train is?
Working with me.
No, sometimes. Not right now. Sometimes. The biggest thing I've had to discipline myself is food. That's my thing. I am weak around food. It is a verifiable addiction. It sucks. All right? So I have to discipline myself all the time. Why? So that with a great one and I go bowling and the boss brings out a 10-foot wide pizza.
Actually, I did that. That was me. I ordered that pizza.
So when your friend brings out a 10.5-foot pizza, you don't go back for the 9th slice. You have 2 and you move on.
By the way, because I'm his accountability buddy, I was watching. And made sure if he would have went back, I would have had to intervene physically if necessary.
But the point here is,
I would just pointed my foot at him.
The point here, you just put your foot near the pizza. I'll never eat pizza again. The point here is, I very much have had to work on myself around food elsewhere so that in a situation like that, I don't make a mistake. Same thing here. You have to know, especially in a big time moment like that if in football in 2024, if you pop a quarterback, you're getting a flag. To the point that there was a pass interference, I believe, in the UCLA game. Sorry, roughing the passer in the UCLA game where the quarterback didn't throw the ball. All right? He steps in the shotgun. He's got the ball up in his throwing position. He gets sacked, clean as a whistle, gets sacked, and they throw a roughing the passer flag. Now, if there's a flag all weekend that better be reviewed and discipline handed down to the referees, it's that one. Okay? But you got to know in 2024 whether you like it or not. And I don't. But whether you like it or not, they overprotect quarterbacks. All you have to do in that spot, just pick him. Just set a pick. Just stand in front. Just put your arms out, get wide, stand in front, make him go around you.
Except he wasn't a quarterback. As soon as that ball landed in a defender's hand.
He's a quarterback always.
No,
he in that place was a defender.
He's not.
But he's still a quarterback. So regardless, again, I'm not saying you have to like it. You don't. I don't either. But in 2024, they are overprotective of quarterbacks, whether they are quarterbacks or defenders. They are always going to protect that guy in that spot. Discipline is something you have to lean on.
Not a quarterback. Man.
Oh, and it's a short week, too.
It is, too. I might as well already say I lost.
Texter says it looked like the South Carolina players were lacking some serious situational football IQ by the end of that game. I don't disagree with that. As much credit as I'm giving him, I don't disagree with that. Chris Miller joining us in the next segment to talk Gamecock football on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, quick live. Chris Miller when we come back. Look at this handsome son of a gun on the stream.
What's up, guys? How are y'all?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Living the dream one day at a time.
Look, he woke up and put a collar on for us. Oh, I feel flattered.
Hey, you're lucky I don't have my tie on.
Let's talk
So,
some
hey,
football,
aren't
buddy.
aren't you getting married Saturday?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking a lot of Gamecock football so far this morning after what I thought was a wonderful showing on College Game Day, after I thought what was a pretty wonderful showing for like the overwhelming majority of the football game itself. And now a wonderful showing on the stream. That's called a segue. I'm a broadcast professional, but I'm not quite the best broadcast professional because the 637-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Broadcaster of the Year and the host of the South Carolina Gamecock
Did you
pregame.
see him grab his collar when you said
He
that?
did.
I
did.
By the way, he's got better hair than you. That's why you're wearing a hat.
I can't get mad at that either. Pregame show, halftime show. My man, the legend, the Tom Brady of South Carolina Sports Talk Radio, Chris Miller, making his Rob Brown Show debut. What's up, big fella? Welcome in, buddy.
Hey, it's Monday morning. I'm ready to roll.
I love that. My man woke up. He's got his collar on. He's got the product in this AM, looking like he just stepped off the page of a damn GQ magazine.
Well, you did call me Tom Brady, right? So I got to look the part, right?
That's fair. That's fair.
See, I hoped that he hated Tom Brady like me and just came at you after you used that, but no, I guess not.
I'm going to say this: you're a better broadcaster than Tom Brady, Chris Miller. I'm going to say that on the radio right now. That's a fact. That's a statement of fact.
I think there's many people that are better broadcasters than Tom Brady at this point.
Man, that's not unfair. It's not unfair. Chris Miller joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Before we get into Gamecock football, buddy, want to tell you sincerely, you have been so incredibly kind since we got the chance to meet a handful of years ago at the SCBA Awards. I have appreciated that tremendously. It has been phenomenal to be able to interact with you across the social media sphere. Glad to have you on the show, buddy.
Hey, I get an opportunity almost daily to watch the show. I love that you guys are on Facebook. So I take a morning run and I always just plug it in my ear when I'm running and listen to what you guys talk about every morning.
Oh, all of this and he works out. God, Chris, leave some for the rest of us, buddy.
All
All right?
I'm obviously clipping that to make it into a promo. So we're good.
Let's start with this, big dog. Just your overall thoughts from Saturday, whether it was the game day atmosphere, the atmosphere in the stadium, the ramifications from the game and the results, the penalties that are obviously the source of controversy from this game. Just kind of give me, when you laid that cherub head down to bed on Saturday night, the thoughts you took with you.
So I kind of want to take a step back and talk about how the day began for Gamecock fans. So myself and Chet Tucker, our sideline reporter, we both live in Rock Hill, so we have to make the 60-mile drive to Columbia for all the games. So we left here at about 5:30 in the morning because we have an 8 o'clock. We go on air at 9 for a pregame. We have an 8 o'clock meeting where we go through, production meeting type thing. So we want to make sure we're there in plenty of time. Well, as we're driving, we're pulling up social media and seeing where at 3 o'clock fans are actually packed outside of the stadium area looking to get in for game day. Now, mind you, they didn't open the gates to allow you into game day until 6:30. So we made the quick decision that, hey, these students have not slept all night. There's clearly that's the case if you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, well, by the time we got there, we pulled in about 6:45 and they had just opened the gates and it looked like about an hour before kick. The fans, Coach Beamer came out on Tuesday during his presser and said, look, we got to pack this place. We got to be here early. And guess what? The fans responded, and they responded in a big way. I mean, it was the best, bar none, atmosphere I've seen at a Gamecock game that far in advance. You could tell the game day representatives, Pat McAfee, Nick Saban, Kirk Herbstreit, the crowd, they were overly impressed, not just during the broadcast, but in the breaks. They were communicating with the crowd, going back and forth, that type of stuff. So it's set up for a great day. Then Gamecock walk happens at 10 o'clock. It's 40 deep. There are people everywhere just working around, doing what they do, and then the game starts. You're up 17-0. You're thinking, man, this is one of those days where God has just looked down and said, today is going to be your day, South Carolina. We start to get the feeling in the booth like they may actually boat race LSU. Like it may end up being like it was against Kentucky the week before. Even when LSU scored that touchdown to make it 17-7. The next play, Lenore Sellers goes 75 yards for a touchdown. You're thinking, okay, things are calmed down. We're in a much better situation. But we started to notice some issues in this when Sellers went down. Robbie Ashford came in, who is a very capable quarterback, a guy who started 6 games at Auburn during his career before he transferred to South Carolina. But they just seemed to get real conservative, and LSU started to just chip their way back in the game. Then there were some calls that Gamecock fans are going to talk about, and I've watched this probably 40 times. There were 3 key calls in this game. All 3 went against South Carolina. First, the obvious one, the pick 6 by Nicky Menwore, that they called a unsportsmanlike conduct against Kyle Kennard. Now, they teach defensive linemen in college football, high school, NFL, when there's an interception, immediately go block the quarterback because he's the most person that can have an opportunity to stop the return. And they teach you to go hands first. And if you look at that block, he goes hands first into the chest of Nussmeier. Now, Nussmeier wasn't looking that direction. So, but they didn't call it a blindside block. If you remember, that's not what the call was. The call was unsportsmanlike conduct. If it was a blindside block, they would have said it. So they didn't feel it was blindside. They felt it was unsportsmanlike, and it was not the right call from that standpoint. So, yeah, you're showing it right there. You can see he hits him on the shoulder, which is exactly where it's supposed to be. That is what they tell the defensive end to do. So that was a tough call. The other one was also against Kyle Kennard. It was on a pick 6 by O'Donnell Fortune earlier in the game. And they said he horse-collared Nussmeier. He grabbed the jersey. And we actually, during our postgame, pulled out the rule book to find out, could the jersey be counted as the horse collar? So one of our callers said it can't. No, it cannot. The jersey is not the actual shoulder pads. You actually have to grab the shoulder pads or grab the helmet and that, like grab under the helmet. They say that's considered a horse collar, or grabbing the shoulder pads. He grabbed the jersey. Now, I can excuse that because that is a bang-bang play, and from live speed, it did look like that. I think the toughest call against South Carolina, however, went against Mazeo Bennett, Greenville's own freshman. There was a call against him that was for an offensive pass interference on a 31-yard completion that would have basically gave the Gamecocks an opportunity to run the clock out. They would have had the ball down around the 20-yard line, first down. But they called that penalty, and what happened, Bennett was running his route. Ashford had rolled out to his right, was looking downfield, but looked like he was going to run. The defender actually came up and ran into Bennett because he thought Ashford was going to run the football, so he's trying to come after him. Bennett and the receiver ran into each other. It was as much defensive pass interference, I believe, as it could have been offensive pass interference. I think that's one where the ref eats his flag because knowing the situation. And as it was, called OPI, negated a 31-yard completion. Not only that, but it took them back 15 yards, so they would have had a 1st and 10 at the 20. Now you're looking at a 2nd and 25 from your own 40. Those were the 3 calls that really I thought the officials should have eaten their whistle. They didn't. They all went against South Carolina. And just take the 2 pick 6s. South Carolina wins that game 47-36. I mean, there's 2 touchdowns. I don't know if I've ever seen a game where 2 defensive touchdowns came off the board.
Yeah, I was Alonzo and I were talking about that earlier, and I can't either. Would you say, and we've been back and forth, it is ludicrous to say that these penalties weren't game changers, Chris. On the other side of it, like you said, there was a spot where it felt like this team tightened up a little bit in the second half, especially after Sellers came out, tried to go, couldn't get the wheels under him. They had to go back to Robbie. It felt like this team tightened up. It felt like the coaching staff tightened up. How much of that is because Robbie Ashford, talented he is, seems to be a super likable kid, super nice guy, but just doesn't have what Lenora Sellers has? Or was that just sort of, in your opinion, like gut reaction to the loss of Lenore Sellers? Was there a change of game plan, a lack of ability to keep the game plan? What happened to cause this team to kind of tighten up down the stretch?
I think it's the first thing you said. When you bring your backup quarterback in, despite the fact that Robbie Ashford is extremely talented, he didn't get the reps. I think that's something people forget. In a game week, your starter gets about 80% of the reps. Your backup gets about 20%. So there's limited stuff that he's capable of running well with everybody else involved. So they basically, when your backup comes in, have to put a new package in, especially Robbie Ashford hasn't been in the program for 4 years. He's a guy he transferred in. So he's a guy who just got on campus 6-7 months ago, whereas Lenore Sellers, again, has been here since December of 2023. So you're talking 18 months. Now, gosh, 20 months for Lenore Sellers. And look, Robbie Ashford, as you said, is talented, but he's not Lenore Sellers. So I think that was the biggest thing, is they had to get his feet under him, find out what can we run with him in those situations, because every situation wasn't first and 10. He came into the game, if you remember, the ball was inside the 1. That was his first snap of the game. So basically, South Carolina just tried to get out of their own way, pump the ball. LSU scores on that drive and gets it to 1 possession. And here you go. You got a different ball game once it gets to 1 possession. So I think it's that first thing. When your backup comes in initially, you have to get conservative. And they opened it up later in the game. But by that point, LSU had come up not only tied, but they had taken a lead.
Chris Miller, voice of the Gamecock pregame and halftime show, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Chris, we talk about the negatives. We talk about the bummers with the PIs. We talk about the team tightening up. All that being said, I thought this team put on a show. From what I've heard, the recruits that were there on their visits, official and unofficial, were buzzing about the environment. And on top of that, we saw a lot of good out of this football program. We saw this team in the first half specifically look like, as you pointed out, they were ready to open something special up. What does this do for the mentality of this team, of this fan base, of Shane Beamer, who I think it's fair to say there were going into the Kentucky game, there were questions about Shane after the Old Dominion game about have we really progressed, et cetera. Do you think those questions were answered, and what kind of momentum do the Gamecocks have moving out of this LSU game, even though it was a loss ultimately?
People need to remember, despite the fact that a lot of us locally, I don't know, it wasn't on the national level, but a lot of us locally thought South Carolina would win this game, they were still 7.5-point underdogs, and they were playing at home. They say that you give 7 points home. So this was a neutral game. South Carolina would have been expected to lose by 14. That is what the odds maker said when you compare the talent to the talent. And so this is a game that on paper, the Gamecocks were not expected to win. But they came out, they put forth an effort that, frankly, anyone who watched or listened to that game was there said South Carolina won this game. I mean, they made the plays to win the game. Statistics didn't say that. Actually, if you look at the stats, LSU won the statistics category. But if you viewed or listened to or at the game, you said South Carolina won. That was what a lot of our call. We had a couple of callers that said, hey, I'm going out and smoking a victory cigar. I'm chalking this up as a win. Well, I mean, you can't do that. You still got the loss next to your name. But I understand the thinking. So I think from a standpoint of the show that South Carolina put on, it's a major step forward. And couple that with what they did against Kentucky. You come out and you do what you should against Akron. You're at 3-1. You go into the bye. Then you get an Ole Miss team. That's a top 5 team coming in there for an SEC Network 7:30 under the lights kick. Again, I'm not going to go out and say South Carolina's going to win that game by any means, but you come out and let's say you're able to pull off a major upset and you beat Ole Miss. The LSU game kind of fades away because I think South Carolina fans, if you were to take a top 5 win over Ole Miss, you'll take that over LSU. But still, that is a huge mountain to climb. I'm not out there saying they're going to beat Ole Miss. But I think what this showed me personally is there is not a game on South Carolina's schedule that they can't compete in. I'm talking going to Alabama. I'm talking home against Ole Miss. I'm talking at Clemson. These are all games they can compete. Not saying they're going to win, but there should not be any game on their schedule where they're going to go out and get blown out by 3 touchdowns.
If this team, Chris, we got about a minute and a half left. If this team, you got 5 Ole Miss, 4 Alabama, 15 Oklahoma, 25 A&M, 7 Mizzou, who, by the way, I think is the most overrated team in the country. We can talk about that another time. And 21 Clemson. If this team, let's even say, drops all of those, but they are competitive. They're all football games. They're all one-score games. They're all clutch-up games down the stretch. If this team, let's say, finishes at 6-6, but is in dogfights with some of the best teams in the SEC, what do you think the conversation about Shane moving forward is? Are we gonna be done with the folks that have said he's on the hot seat for going on the hot seat, or do you think that at the end of this year, if it's a bowl eligible program, Carolina fans are going to say we're moving upwards and we're good with that?
I think the latter. I love hearing that discussion about Shane Beamer on the hot seat. Locally in Columbia and those tied to the university, Shane Beamer is nowhere near the hot seat. That's just not the case. I mean, everyone loves what Coach Beamer is doing. They recognize the situation he faces with his schedule this year. And I think while the goal is always to win the SEC championship, do that, the true goal is to get to a bowl. And by beating Kentucky, you set yourself up for that when you look at the games you have left. You win the games you should, which are your Vanderbilt and your Wofford and your Akron. You're at 5 wins. So you got to get another win somewhere. Clemson, A&M, Missouri, those are probably your most likely, because Oklahoma and Alabama on the road are really tough, as is home against Ole Miss. I think those first 3 are probably your most likely. But you get to 6 wins, I think Gamecock fans are extremely happy given what you had with this schedule.
Chris Miller hosts the Gamecock pregame and halftime show. He also is a 713-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Broadcaster of the Year. Never in my life have I been more happy about a second-place trophy than when I'm up against this guy, because he's a legend and an icon and an overall good dude. Chris, you are the best, buddy. I'm glad to get you on the show. Let's make this a common occurrence, if you don't mind.
Let's do it again. And congratulations on your impending nuptials. I myself am getting married in this springtime, so we share that as well.
I did the fall wedding, Chris, and it's because I love her. You know?
All right. I'm so disappointed because I wanted him to come at you for not being at the Star Awards. And yeah, I mean,
here's my thing on that. Once I realized why he wasn't there, I totally understood. It's tough to pass up a guy's weekend, especially when you get to go to Braves games and stuff like that.
Chris gets it.
And in the defense of Rob, we did change the weekend. Typically, that SCBA is the second weekend of August. Pushed it back to the first week.
Thank you. All right. So I thought I was losing my damn mind, Chris, because they scheduled it and I saw it. Lonzo saw me. I had a full-out temper tantrum when the date came out because I'm like, no, that's not right.
That's not the real reason why he was upset, because he thought I was going to take the trophy home, which I should have done.
There's also that.
Which I should have done. He's like, if we win, I'm not getting this trophy. And I should have took it home, but I'm just too nice.
Also run out the door with it real quick. So I'm glad you at least got it.
Legitimately, I thought I was never putting eyes on that thing.
I wish I could have run out the door, but I had to go up on the stage a ton more times. So, I mean,
Humble brag. Chris Miller, you are a legend and icon, my man. Great to have you on the show. Let's do it again real soon, pal.
Let's do it, guys.
Love it. Chris Miller joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Now, Lonzo, the Shane Beamer of Sports Flashes.
I left my sunglasses in there. Sorry about that. Frustration is growing in Charlotte as the Carolina Panthers were blown out again, this time by the LA Chargers, 26-3. Bryce Young went 18 of 26 with a career low 84 passing yards and 1 interception, while Carolina recorded just 90 rushing yards on the day compared to LA's 219. The Panthers dropped to 0-2 to start the season, and no one's surprised. Former Carolina Gamecock Asia Wilson has become immortalized in the WNBA lore after becoming the first player in league history to surpass the 1,000-point mark in a single season. Wilson set the record last night in an 84-71 Las Vegas Aces victory. Rob's staring at me. He's making me nervous. Over the Connecticut Sun, knocking down a mid-range jumper with just under 2 minutes to play. Hey, tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. as the Burns Rebels head to Wade Hampton to take on the Generals right here on your home for Burns Rebels. Upstate. Dude. Got that Monday timing going, which is no timing. I've got one more to do better, but I'm probably not. I'm just going to botch the third one just so I can be consistent. And now I've jinxed myself. That's funny, Wesley. Very, very disappointed in Chris Miller because he had the opportunity to just, destroy Rob, and he went the high road, which is, guess what people do. But I mean, yeah, it's surprising, famously, Arnett, that we've went 2 hours without talking about all that, but it's because there's so much happened over the weekend. Especially the Gamecock thing, and Rob's team gets priority because it's Rob's team. So, I mean, I don't know if you noticed,
Oh, definitely.
but
As you see, talent doesn't win.
I'll bring it up later. I know, Donovan, but, according to most people, all right, a lot of people, the refs saved the game because, as my wife said, okay, I'm done with football for today when it was over. So she watched CSI because apparently that's much more relaxing than watching a Chiefs game that always ends that way. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, listen, they're either going to win on the last drive or they're going to lose on the last drive. That's just how they play. And not just any team can win after, throwing that many interceptions, even though one of them didn't end up counting. It's still, he threw like 3. That they are. Hey, Donovan, I'm okay with being the bad guy because that means your team is really good. And there's not nearly as much hate for the Chiefs as were for the Patriots. So not nearly as much hate.
It's getting there.
Well, hopefully after the 3-peat and the 4-peat. That was an amazing interception. It still was. I mean, it was so. Way to go, Wesley. I mean, you strove for that, and finally you were able to do it. I mean, you work really hard every day, and then you accomplish something. That should make the rest of your day wonderful. QC in the next break.
And away we go. Hour number 3 of the Monday edition of the Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It's the fan upstate, Rob Brown, and the great one, Lonzo, with you on a Monday morning. Thanks again to Chris Miller for jumping on the show. He hosts the Carolina Gamecocks pregame and halftime show, and as mentioned, is just a spectacular dude.
And Rob was not exaggerating by how many awards he's won.
No, he's won all of them. I think he's won all of them.
In case he's listening, I know I sounded cocky at the end of that about going across the stage. It is an honor every time you get nominated and you get to go there and win awards, and we are so happy every year when we get to do that.
That is correct, and you could do it for 3 more years and probably still not have collected as many trophies as Chris Miller.
Probably not. I think when that category was brought about, I believe he was been the first and only winner.
I think you are correct.
I believe so.
I'm also going to say, as I've mentioned, I don't do second place very well, except to Chris Miller. It's like the one thing where I'm like, okay, I got told. In fact, the first year I got put up for that award, which was year 2, I think. I don't think I was in for it in fact, I know it was year 2. I've been up for it 3 times now. I'm 3 for 3 second places. The first year I went up for it, I got told by multiple people, all separate from each other, hey man, just prepare yourself.
Including me.
Including Lonzo, one of the salespeople downstairs, my fiance, all of them were like, just as a heads up, that's the Chris Miller Invitational. And I was like, I'm taking this dude down.
Even that people around the building, oh, he's got a chance. It's like, no, he doesn't.
No.
He's not going to. He's like, the person I was talking to, shouldn't you be more supportive? Is like, I am very supportive, but he's not going to beat Chris Miller.
I want you to be supportive, not delusional. All right. And here's the thing, and this is why I say I'm totally good with it. I listen to Chris Miller all the time. I've listened to his show. I've listened to his high school football Friday night coverage. I've listened to his Gamecock coverage as well. The dude's good. I'm going to hand him the best compliment I can give to anybody. Lonzo, what's the number one compliment I hand out on this show? He knows ball. He knows ball. Not a little.
I've never
ball.
really received that compliment.
Hey,
so
I'm saying you've got a GED in ball knowing.
No, I pointed that out. Until that point, you didn't think I.
But
had anything,
no, that's not true. Stop.
Okay. All right, I made it about me. It's not about me. It's about Chris Miller, and he's awesome.
Phenomenal guy. So thanks for taking the time. Lulu Kesson unfortunately ran into an issue. She's going to be with us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. To talk Gamecock football. So if you are a Lulu Kesson fan, and I know that there are millions of you around the planet, Lulu Kesson will be with us at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Rashad Beard coming up in the next segment. However, at 8:20, we will segue from Rashad into John Blau at the end of this hour, 8:40, to get you set up for the Clemson-NC State game taking place this weekend. The Clemson Tigers get their ACC season rolling.
Here's the thing. I don't believe for a second that Rashad won't roll up in here full of Panther gear, even though they're 0-2. When you see him without all his stuff, then you know it's
I'll take that bet.
Yeah.
I'll take the bet because he came on yesterday full regalia. Granted, he had just gotten home from the game,
right?
But it came in full regalia. I think he shows up. I don't think he's a
no. That's what I'm saying.
Think he's a bailout fan.
If you see him without all that stuff, then doom is on the horizon.
That's probably fair. We'll see Rashad Beard in the next segment.
Well, you know, people close to doom sometimes don't see it until it hits them, but you know.
Not unfair too. All right, couple of different stories I want to get to here as we'll run through a bunch of stuff. Ordinarily we do the audio blitz here, but I'm going to go ahead and get you some of the highlights from the weekend. 9 o'clock, we'll do the audio blitz. 9:20 through the end of the show, whatever you guys want to talk about.
By the way, I'm so glad this show is flying by because you and I both are on vacation soon. And usually the couple of days before vacation go really slow. This day is not doing that.
I'll be lying my ass off to tell you I don't have a major case of senioritis right now.
And no, I'm not jinxing it by saying it. It's still going to fly by.
Oh, for sure. All right, let's talk about some of the biggest stories coming out of the weekend. Let's start with this one. Florida State 0-3. They lose at home to Memphis. This is a team that started as a top 10 team and is now at 0-3. That has happened 8 times in the history of preseason polls. Florida State is the first team from the group to have all 3 of those losses come at the hands of unranked teams. The other 8 all lost to at least one ranked opponent in their season opening stretch. Here are the times it has happened. 1954, Illinois went 0-3 as a top 10 team. They finished 1-8. 1960, USC finished 0-3 as a top 10 team. They finished 4-6. 1963, Washington was 0-3 as a top 10 team, 6-5. In 76, Arizona State did it. They went 4-7. In 83, Penn State did it. They did bounce back to some degree. They went 8-4-1. In 1984, Pitt did it. They finished 3-7-1. Texas A&M did it in 1988. They rebounded to go 7-5. And in 2020, Penn State did it. They finished 4-5. Remember, that was the COVID year, the shortened COVID year. So things are going real bad down in Tallahassee, Florida. How bad did they go? Well, I don't think that there is a better illustration of how bad things went than Mike Norvell's postgame press conference, which I am going to totally play for you right now.
Ignition to the flip of momentum and all this, because I tell it to teams all the time, momentum takes one play. I mean, that's it. That's all it takes to change it. And, we just, obviously have had some opportunities that, that we needed to respond in those situations. But I mean, I think from their attitude, their approach, I mean, even they're in the locker room, we're all disappointed. as we continue to work and continue to pour into each other and the opportunity we have.
Can I tell you?
Alarm.
Stop. Wait. In case you missed it. The fire alarm went off. That's fine. All right, it happens. My favorite part is when Mike Norvell finishes his answer on the period of the last sentence of Norvell's answer. The lady that is the fire alarm lady recorded person message thing goes,
You need to leave the building at the nearest exit immediately.
like, that was all of Florida State on
It's
Saturday.
prophecy. It's prophetic.
Norvell gets told by a recorded fire alarm lady,
You need to leave the building immediately at the nearest exit.
that is incredible. You
Please
can't
stop
write
doing
that in a sitcom script. You can't. If I was to go make a sitcom like Coach but updated, all right, you remember Coach? Coach was an incredible show. Love Coach. Wish they should. Coach is a show I'd be good if they brought back a new
Bill
refresher.
Fagerbeck, the voice of Patrick Starr.
The best. If there was an episode of New Coach and the coach just took his third loss after seeing the season start with a top 10 ranking, and I wrote down in a script, Coach finishes question, fire alarm says, you need to leave the building by the nearest exit immediately. Somebody would go, come on, dude, that's a little on the nose, right? That's a little too real. That can't happen. And yet, here's Mike Norvell getting run out of the building by a fire alarm telling him you need to leave the building by the nearest exit immediately. Y'all, I have been doing this for 17 years, and I have never seen anything like that in my damn life. That is the funniest, that's the funniest thing that's ever happened in college football.
Did you double and triple check to make sure that wasn't a put together video?
I watched it live.
Okay. All right.
I watched it live.
Okay.
That's how I knew it happened.
All right.
I watched it live. I don't know how to explain to you that this might be
To
the
flip
funniest thing
of
that's ever
momentum
happened.
And always, because I tell it to teams all the time, momentum takes one play. I mean, that's it. That's all it takes to change it. And we just, obviously have had some opportunities that that we needed to respond in those situations. But I mean, I think from their attitude, their approach.
Listen to the second part of the message.
As we continue to work and continue to pour into each other and the opportunity we have.
That's incredible.
All right. I have a question for you. How far into the press conference did this happen?
9 minutes, 10 minutes? Nope. I lied. It was probably about 15 minutes.
Okay, so
About 15
so
minutes
there's
in.
no chance that Norvell said, "Okay, I'm going to say this key phrase. When I do, you pull the alarm."
My man texted
Yeah.
on his Apple Watch. He's like, somebody hit the damn fire alarm.
Yeah, and
I'm so sick of this crap. Somebody go pull the freaking trigger right now. I can't do this anymore.
and the dude who was supposed to pull it wasn't paying attention because he was supposed to pull it within the first 5 minutes, and he had to keep going. And finally, he's like, "Come on, dude, pull the alarm."
Dude, that is the freaking funniest thing. He finished an answer about how bad the team is. It's 0-3. They were top 10 3 weeks ago. They're 0-3 with a loss to Memphis at home. And a fire alarm says, you must leave the building immediately by the nearest exit. That's not on the nose. That's somehow more on the nose than the phrase on the nose is indicative of. I don't understand it. Wesley said DJ was supposed to hit the alarm, but he kept missing. Oh, God.
That is great. Good one, Wesley.
Dude, listen,
I'm so disappointed. I thought DJ was going to be better than this.
Clemson fans are laughing their asses off at that statement. I mean, just falling out of cars laughing at that right now. Let me say this. I don't like to rip college football players. That is why you will hear me say things like, oh, that kid don't have it. He's got some development left to do. Maybe there's some immaturity. I do not like to come down on a college football player. DJ stinks. DJ stinks. The offensive line stinks. The wide receivers stink. The coaching staff stinks. Everything stinks. DJ stinks. And I am now at the point that, and I'm sorry to say it, I genuinely think DJ's dad and Dabo ruined DJ. I don't think there's any coming back from this. And you can blame it on DJ, and that's all well and good. But I think DJ's dad and I think Dabo Swinney ruined DJ Uiagalelei. Nope. I think they built this kid up to become mythological in his own mind. I think they built him up to what he believed to be iconic status before he ever played a college game. And I think the worst thing that happened to DJ was that Notre Dame game where he checked in and he threw for 5,000 yards, because I think in his head, he went, bang, that's it. This is me. This is who I am. This is what I am. And I don't think he ever recovered from that. He stinks.
Inconceivable.
It's not inconceivable. It makes perfect sense.
All right. Here's the thing. I mean, at some point, stop blaming everybody else and just blame him. I mean, I'm sure coaching could come into play and some other things, but
you think coaching a football player might have something to do with it?
It could.
Maybe.
It could. Not always, but it could.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because some of these guys don't need coaching. I mean, the coaches are just there.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I'm being sarcastic. The thing is, you need to blame DJ. Stop blaming Dabo. Stop blaming his dad. There's no, I mean, he's the one out on the field making the mistakes or not playing up to expectations.
Right.
It's his fault.
But effects have causes. Do you think this guy just suddenly lost all the talent that made him a 5-star recruit? You think he just suddenly just never had it?
No, he was devastated when he was dropped by Dr. Pepper. And I get it. I mean, it is
Why
an
was he dropped by Dr. Pepper? Why? Because he stank. Because he stank as a freshman.
Because Dabo benched him. That's
correct.
Yeah.
I blame, and don't get me wrong, I am not knocking this. I'm not knocking DJ from this. Yeah, he stinks, and he's making crap decisions, one after the next. But there's also a source. I blame his dad. I blame Dabo. I blame them both. All right, we got to take a break. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joins us next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, live reading. We're back with Rashad. Stay right there. All right, Rashad. I don't know what to say, buddy. Hi. How's it going?
It is a
pal?
little more subdued.
Oh,
It's a little more subdued. All right.
what's up?
He's gone with muted colors. I know it's still Carolina, but still, it's just kind of muted. You can't see. The mic is covering part of it, but
We were having a discussion if you were going to show up in Panther gear or all black today.
oh, he's wearing soccer.
Nah. Well,
Is it
it's
soccer?
not even a soccer shirt. It's just, no,
Just
no,
Charlotte. It's just the town.
Just
oh,
the town
oh
shirt.
no. Oh no. So it is what I
Yeah.
feared. It is what I feared.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, bro.
I stayed with you for about 22 minutes of your post game yesterday, and I couldn't even bring myself to make jokes. Couldn't do it.
Yes,
Didn't have it
tough.
in me.
It's tough.
Didn't have it in me.
Oh, that was sad. More people turning in at 8 a.m. on Monday than the actual game. That's true. Unfortunately.
You know, I said yesterday, I said, I'm gonna bring Rashad on tomorrow. I'm gonna try to give some hope. I'm gonna try to give some optimism. And then I went last night because I did my show prep and I watched the all 22 cam angle from NFL Plus. I ain't got much, bro. I ain't got much.
Yeah, it's ugly, man. It's ugly.
So the great Bryce Defender has given up.
No.
Okay.
No,
all right.
there's
all
a
right.
difference between giving up
Okay,
and saying
all right.
I didn't see anything good. If you, it was what I said on Rashad's chat yesterday when he was doing his post game. If you hang this entirely on 9, you do not know ball. If you put this all on him, you don't know ball.
So there's still some of that still left in you. That's good to know that you haven't given up.
Bro,
yet.
did you watch this team? This
I,
team sucked
I
yesterday.
watched the
It wasn't
entire
just
game. I'm
me watching.
aware of how bad it was. Yes. But there's a focal point to how bad it was, and that would be the quarterback. Whether you want it to be or not, that is the focal point.
It's your focal point.
It's a lot of people's focal point.
It's a lot of people's focal point.
All right, let's see if we can get Rashad through this. Ordinarily on Thursdays at 8:40, we welcome in the host of the Panther Nation podcast, Rashad Bearded. He comes on and I go, "What's up, fella? How we doing?" And he goes, "Doing good, guys." But I watched Rashad's post-game pod yesterday, and Rapod Beard was not in the mood. Was that? Are you feeling any better this morning, buddy? I saw you sipping the coffee. You don't have vodka in there or anything at 8:20 in the morning, do you?
No, this is coffee. This is coffee for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm better. You got to sleep on it. Of course, when you go to the game, and that's why I do go live like right after to get those raw emotions out. And it's frustrating, man. That was not a performance that we desired to see. Although expectations were really low. All I ask is that the team compete, and that is not what I saw. I do not see a team that is getting any better. When the only improvement you can hang your hat on is a punt inside the 5-yard line, we got issues. We got some serious issues. So yeah, across the board, just an utter failure. Again, I don't know if it's going to get better anytime soon. But it's not good. It's not good, and I just hate that we have started off the season this way because it. And I said this in a pregame show that I was doing yesterday, is that it feels like a continuation of last year. Like, it just doesn't feel like it has been separated. Like, last year and this year have merged together, and this is now like week 20 of last year. That's what it feels like.
So you don't think it feels like a regression to a degree because other parts of the game have went down too?
Yeah, no, it feels like a regression, but what I'm saying is that it all feels the same. Like, it's that same feeling that we're not getting any better, right? It's just that same. It's the same feeling, bro, and it's bad. It's really bad. But yes, I do agree, though, that there's regression there for sure.
So I asked this last week I brought it up last week. Lonzo said I'm full of crap. I want to see if you say and say it if you say it with your chest if you do, Rashad. I'm good with it. I asked what were your expectations coming into the year, right? Was it 5-5 or 5 wins, 6 wins, 2 wins, whatever? Because to me, I didn't set a win-loss record as an expectation because I think that's setting yourself up for failure because in that point, what you're saying is ain't one thing but matters and it's the score. And I understand if you're competing for the Super Bowls, if you're the Chiefs, if you're the Cowboys, yeah, then all that matters is the score. But for you guys, I made the argument that Bryce Young's on his 3rd head coach in 2 years. You got a wide receiver crew that everybody is either on a new team or in a different wide receiver position than they were last year. I got guys moving all over the offensive line. You've lost Derek Brown defensively. You've had some injuries stack up. I guess I had to ask what the expectations were. And I know you've said be competitive, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess so. But I'm looking at this team, and I went, there's a lot of new, and it's going to take some time. The only issue I have, Rashad Beard, is I didn't see improvement from week 1 to week 2. And I will say, now I'm nervous because I didn't see any improvement from I was letting you off the hook a little bit. Because New Orleans hung 47 on you. Then they went to Dallas's house and put 41 on them. So, maybe you got beat by a damn good team, but then you turned around with a first-year coach in Jim Harbaugh, J.K. Dobbins, who got pulled out of a damn MASH unit in Baltimore and came out there and put a $130+ on you. I am now joining you in being nervous about a new team because you didn't get better from week 1 to week 2, and that is supposed to be the biggest jump in improvement for every football team.
Yeah, and I see you had to throw a little Saints jab in there. Yeah, Saints, put up 40 on the Cowboys. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, like how you threw that in.
Rashad, that's a Saints fact. You're welcome.
It is. It is. But yeah, no, just again, improvement was what we wanted to see, man. And it's not happening. From season to season, we want to see improvement. From game to game, we want to see improvement. And it looks worse. I mean, maybe it has to get worse to get better. But boy, we've been in worse times for a long time. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's frustrating just to watch this team because you don't know what you're going to get. You hope that Bryce gets it together. You hope that the defense gets it together. You understand the injuries that we've incurred. But it's just I don't see when you look at the schedule, I don't see a winnable. I don't see us being competitive with the Raiders. I don't see us being competitive with the Bengals. I don't see us being competitive with a lot of these teams moving forward. So as you project and into the future, looking at the schedule, it doesn't look good. I don't see where we're going to compete. So I'm concerned. I'm very concerned about the mental of this team, the questions that are being asked already in these post game conferences. Is Bryce the guy? How do you feel about the booing? This is stuff you deal with mid-season, later in the season. Right now, week 2, new regime, not a good sign for the Carolina Panthers.
No, it's very much not. And let me make myself clear because I know I got dudes like Deontay beating me up in the chat right now. Bryce stinks right now. I am not saying, nothing's Bryce's fault.
Does
Bryce
that hurt you?
stinks.
That looks painful
does.
That you're saying that.
Bryce stinks right now. All right. I'm not disagreeing. But there is a difference between everybody else is great and Bryce sucks and everybody sucks. And again, the play that I kind of hung my hat on, Rashad, was the sack that Bryce took where he was under pressure because both the right guard and the running back missed the block. He gets a dude in his face in 2 seconds. He escapes, gets out to the left, gets turned to make a throw. I watched the all-22 cam. Rashad, we're 9 seconds in the play. There ain't a white jersey open anywhere on the damn football field. I don't know what you want him to do in that spot. Now, throw it out of bounds so you don't get sacked for an 8-yard loss, sure.
That would have been nice. Yeah, that would have been nice.
Bryce stinks, and I'm not arguing that he's not. What I'm saying is if you pin it all on Nine's bad, here's what I hope. You asked yesterday to your stream. I was watching. You said, those of you that are calling for Dalton, what do you want? I'm going to give you my answer. I want Andy Dalton out there to show that BY is a problem, but he ain't the problem. Putting Andy Dalton out there and this team's still stinking will prove that.
Solving the problem would be just run the ball.
They tried. They can't. They suck.
I think you give up a little too quick on running the ball.
Rashad?
I agree with that. 3rd and 2, early in the game, first drive, 3rd and 2, you drop back. Bryce, I think that's the play you're talking about where Bryce drops back. He takes a sack, puts us out of field goal position, and that was early in the game. So that basically dictates the entire game moving forward. We can't do anything on 3rd down. 3rd and short, 3rd and 5. We're like We've only converted 2 third downs in 2 games. Like it's bad. Like it's really bad. I do think we give up on the run pretty quick. I think we had 18 rushes yesterday. We should have done what the Chargers did to us. They ran the ball 44 freaking times on us, right? We desire to be what the Chargers are, right? That's who we should be. That team, the Chargers didn't do anything great yesterday. They didn't do anything awesome. They were just mid, but they did enough to beat us because we are complete trash. That's all I got.
Fayette Nam says we can't run because the defense doesn't respect Bryce's ability to throw. They're just going to load the box. Listen, yes, I don't disagree with that. But again, and this is my issue. Like I saw people coming after Xavier Legette. Rashad, you know Legette's my guy. I have been a fan of this guy since the day after y'all drafted him. I brought you on the pod. And I'm like, you're going to love this kid. He's a dude. Again, I implore you, if you haven't, go watch the All-22 cam from behind the offense looking out. The separation's not there. And while the offensive line got upgraded, it's better than last year. I'm not going to argue it's as bad as last year because it ain't. But it's not like the pocket is clean for him to look. The point I'm making here, Rashad, is yes, Bryce Young stinks. But there's a lot of stink out there to go around, bro.
But bro, I think we can cherry pick plays. I can cherry pick a play where Adam Thielen's running wide open and he gets missed. Like we can cherry pick all kind of plays, good, bad, and indifferent. The problem is it's not consistent. Nobody's consistent, right? We can't get consistency out of Bryce. We can't get consistency in the play calling because they're gonna right now. Let's keep it. I'm all right. I'm about to pod. You're about to get Rapod here.
Oh, Rapod beer. Let's do this.
Listen, and I'm guilty of this too, right? And I've been guilty of this. I've been trying to give Bryce the benefit of the doubt here, but there's a lot of coddling of Bryce Young right now. Like we have to call a spade, right? Canales was brought in here. I said this yesterday. Canales was brought in here to fix Bryce. Andy Dalton isn't fixing our issues. You were hired because you are a QB whisperer. You can't whisper. You're not whispering right now. You're not doing your job. The job you were brought in to do, which is fix Bryce Young. So getting Andy Dalton in here is putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. That's not fixing the problem. Bryce Young needs to play this out. Good, bad, or indifferent. He stays in there, and we take our medicine. Canales takes his medicine. If he gets fired over it, that's him. You shouldn't have said you could fix Bryce Young. You know what I mean? So Bryce Young has to go out there, and he has to play, and he has to get better. If not, this team is going to be bad.
Somebody, Alex said Rapod like the Goblin Mask talking to Shaw. That's the best thing I've heard. All right, but I got one or two more because we got a minute or two left here, Rashad. You got Thielen on the field looking like he's about to pop a nerve. You got Moton out there. Looks like he was ready to hit Bryce in the side of the head when he threw a pit. I mean, it looked bad on the sideline. Now, in fairness, Thielen went in the locker room and said, it's on all 11 of us. It ain't on Bryce. Deontay Johnson said, that's my quarterback, man. I got, he gives us the best chance to win. The biggest problem you have right now, it ain't play calling, where I got Canales running 5-yard outs on 3rd and 8. Let's figure it out, all right? It ain't just the fact that I got an offensive line that still ain't gelled 2 weeks in. The biggest problem y'all got right now, in my opinion, is your locker room's falling apart. And you asked yesterday, why Andy Dalton? And I said, look, because let me phrase it a different way. Because Andy Dalton will prove if Bryce Young is the biggest problem or not. Right? That's the only reason I got to put him in there. Because if he comes in and there's any success, it's on BY, and even I will have to walk that back. But if you got a locker room looking to whoop each other's ass on the field more than they're trying to whoop the Chargers' ass, Rashad, that's where you're going to find yourself in trouble, and it's only going to get worse.
Well, yeah, I agree. Listen, I like to see, bro. I'm watching other games where, look at the way, I think my man Carlos said it in the chat. Look at the way that Callahan handled Will Levis when he had Will Levis over there looking like you got to unload on these guys sometimes. And this was my concern with Canales and his super positivity thing that he does, right? Things are great. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, they're not. They're not great. Things are not great. You have to get in somebody's face and you have to call things out and there has to be consequences, right? You have to do what you need to do. The team is going to implode on each other if you don't get in there and do something about it. You're going to lose this locker room, like you're saying. It's already starting, right? I feel terrible for Canales because this is not all his fault. You look at the guys that have been here for a while. They've been dealing with this, right? The fans are now like the Boo Birds were really loud. This is week 2. Typically, it takes a little time to get into the boo phase. We're already in the boo phase in week 2. First home game. There should be all excitement. We should just be happy to see football back in Charlotte. And then the Boo Birds were out heavy. Everybody's feeling it. We're all frustrated. So it's going to implode there in the locker room, in Charlotte, all over the place if things don't start to improve. And again, the bar is low. That's what I want everybody in your viewing area to understand. The bar is low. We just want to see competitive football. We don't even care about winning at this point.
Rashad Beard hosts.
Competitive. Sorry. My
no, you're good. You're good. You're good. Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can find them on X at Panther Nation PC. My man, appreciate you. I know you ain't feeling it, but I'm gonna give you a week off next week. We'll come back after that, see if you still got your sanity together.
Yeah, man. Hopefully.
I love you, dog. Rashad Beard, Panther Nation podcast. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with us. We got to take a break. John Blau with the Post and Courier next to talk Clemson ball on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, big dog. Well, see you.
New life.
All right, guys, stepping away for a live read. Back John Blau after this. Hang tight. All right, we talked some NFL ball. Now let's talk some college football as the Clemson Tigers get set to take on the NC State Wolfpack this weekend. To talk a little Los Tigres football, joining us now on the show from the Post and Courier, John Blau joins the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. John, I hope you enjoyed the bye week, my man, because it is time for the meat and taters of the ACC season. How we feeling, big dog?
Feeling pretty good. How you, Rob?
I'm real well, man. Thank you very much. Let's dive in and let's just keep the focus on this NC State team, an NC State team that is very interesting, John, because on one hand, I think it's the best roster Dave Doeren has had during his time with the Wolfpack. On the other hand, it's a team that gave up 21 to Western Carolina. It's a team that gave up 20 to Louisiana Tech. It's a team that gave up 51 to Tennessee and a blowout loss in Charlotte a couple of weeks ago. Team can put some points on the board. Team will let you put some points on the board. What's the prep strategy for the Clemson Tigers as they get set for NC State?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. What to make of NC State? Because, I mean, you need 21 unanswered points to beat Western Carolina. You're behind against La Tech for a pretty substantial portion of that game. Obviously, Grayson McCall, you think he's the quarterback. He's been hurt. CJ Bailey had to come into that game against La Tech. So they're an interesting team. I mean, like you said, they're talented. They have players. I mean, Concepcion, receiver, is probably one of the more talented playmakers in the ACC. Waters, the transfer they got from Duke at running back, not a bad player. Obviously, you think Grayson McCall can make some plays at quarterback if he's healthy, but just the scores and the way they've played thus far, just a very, uneven kind of performance from the Wolfpack thus far. So it's hard to really know what team you're seeing. Obviously, defensively, you bring up some of the ills there. I mean, I think people kind of underestimated how much losing a guy like Peyton Wilson would hurt them. That's for them like a generational talent at linebacker. So defensively, like you said, I think it's been a little bit of a struggle for them. They're still figuring things out. I have a lot of questions, more questions than answers as NC State comes to Death Valley this weekend.
As do I. But I think you hit on something there, which is NC State does feel like a team that maybe hasn't been in this spot before. There were expectations that this team could be an outside dark horse contender for the ACC title, or at least to get into an ACC title game this year. Dave Doeren is a guy that a lot of people feel is kind of the coach that could get him there, and he has assembled a very good roster. I wait for the moment that NC State does figure it out, does put it together. And John Blau, I think if you're Clemson, you've got to attack this game as if it is the biggest remaining ACC game, because if it is against you, they do figure it out. It could be a bit of a surprise. So defensively for Clemson, how do you make sure that you keep NC State in that spot where, they're putting up points, but not enough to get into a horse race with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously getting after the quarterback, whoever it is. I mean, if it's Bailey, if it's McCall, I mean, you want to make them uncomfortable. Obviously that obviously starts in terms of, this is kind of just regular football speak, but I mean, it's keeping them off schedule in terms of limiting the run game, getting them into second, third and longs, making them make uncomfortable throws in those less than ideal situations. I think if you're Clemson, I think the one thing you feel really good about, even though that Georgia game, they ran on you a little bit, obviously it fell apart late. I feel like Clemson's front, that defensive front, as long as Peter Woods is there, I think he probably will be, but we'll have to question that. As long as your defensive front is as strong as it looks, I think they're going to be able to make more offenses play in those types of situations than most. I said that right, but it's about stopping the run, getting them in uncomfortable situations in third and long, passing the ball. Obviously, Concepcion is a guy who can make a play if he gets out in space. I mean, they obviously have to be very disciplined that way. But yeah, in terms of who the quarterback is, I think that's the big question I have. So until I know who the quarterback is exactly, that's kind of a question in terms of how you defend them. But I'm sure they're going to game plan for McCall playing, and then if it's Bailey, you figure it out then.
We're talking to John Blau from the Post and Courier. Clemson getting set up for a matchup against NC State this weekend, their first ACC contest of the year. Obviously, John, that 66-20 win over App State a couple of weeks ago. Well, just a little under a couple of weeks ago. Kind of felt like the offense kind of came alive, felt like something. But we had a texter point out earlier in the show that what they don't want to see is vibes like with DJ a couple of years, 500 plus yards against Notre Dame, and then the offense just kind of after that. So offensively, what's the mentality been around this program? Do they believe that, hey, we finally did what we know we can do and we're just going to kind of carry that on? Or has there been any tinkering with the system? Do you think there will be any tinkering with the system getting set for an NC State defense that really hasn't been the problem?
Yeah, I think of what Walker Parks told us last week, which I know a lot of Georgia fans got bothered by, but he was saying, like what we did against App State, we felt like we could have done that against Georgia. Obviously not hang 66 on them is what he said, but they thought they looked at the tape. Obviously everybody else looking at it and saying, what are you talking about? But they looked at the tape and thought that there were opportunities to run the ball, to pass the ball, to do much better than they did against Georgia. So they feel like the App State game is more the rule than the exception. This is, the game to prove it. I mean, again, against an NC State team that I don't know if they played particularly well at the beginning of the year, but are supposed to have dudes on the defensive side of the ball. To see how you kind of, play in a game like that will be instructive in terms of where this offense really is, because consistency has been the issue for the last 2 or 3 years with Clemson offensively. I mean, they'll have games. I mean, we remember Cade Klubnik's first game that he really played a lot was the ACC title game against North Carolina, and he's throwing the ball over the yard. And obviously, even in the bowl game against Tennessee, threw it all over the yard, just wasn't quite able to score. But then obviously you saw the 2023 season, it wasn't quite there. So you see one 66-point result against App State, it looks good, but they have to show they can do that week in and week out, and we haven't seen that yet. And yeah, obviously an ACC opener against a team like NC State that's supposed to be good. We haven't really seen it from them yet, but they're supposed to be. That should test kind of where Clemson's offense actually is.
We are talking to John Blau from the Post and Courier. Clemson taking on NC State this weekend in their first ACC contest. I've had a couple of people, Joe, our buddy Joe in the chat right now, bringing it up. That there's it feels like, John Blau, there's a little animosity from Dave Doeren towards Dabo Swinney. We've seen some contentious moments. I don't want to say between these two, because it's always kind of felt like it's almost a one-sided contentious relationship here. But do you have any thoughts on the relationship or lack thereof between these coaches? And do you think that has any impact on the way that Dabo and or the coaching staff and or the team approach this contest?
Yeah, not really. Yeah, like you said, I think it's pretty one-sided. I think Dave Doeren's a little bit of an ornery person, and can kind of get that way. And so I don't think Dabo has much of I think maybe there's been a couple things that Dabo has said over the years, but I don't think he feels any particular way about Dave Doeren. I think it's more little brother, big brother type of thing. Obviously, Clemson made 6 straight playoffs. They were winning that, series handily for a while there. Obviously, NC State got that win up in 2021, and then obviously got another win last year in Raleigh. But NC State hasn't won in Death Valley since 2002. So I mean, it's been a really long time since they've won a game at Clemson. Obviously, Dave Doeren's going to do what he thinks he's got to do to motivate his guys, and sometimes that's kind of be a little bit prickly when it comes to Clemson. But I mean, who knows? I mean, it might on an individual level motivate some players. I mean, it may be mentioned within the halls every now and again. I don't know that for a fact. Clemson kind of, how contentious this rivalry could be. Obviously, it is a rivalry game with the Textile Bowl that a lot of people actually talk about. But yeah, I mean, I do think it's more one-sided. I think it's more from Doeren's side. I don't think Dabo, is going to say anything too inflammatory about him if you asked him. But it's just kind of the way Dave Doeren can be, from what I can tell.
John Blau from the Post and Courier. Last one, John, and then we'll let you get back to real life. I like to ask this question of everyone who covers every team for every game. The Clemson Tigers win this football game if blank.
If they can run the ball. Again, you talk about that defense and some of the ups and downs that NC State's had. They gave up about 250 yards rushing to Tennessee. You obviously feel pretty good about Clemson's offensive line, the way they played against App State, both protecting Cade Klubnik and allowing Maffa to pop off some of those runs at 83-yarder. I think if they can establish the run versus NC State, kind of grind them out a little bit, obviously take pressure off of Cade Klubnik so he can kind of be the executioner that we saw that he was against App State. I think that obviously bodes really well for him. If NC State's able to kind of find its footing defensively, it makes it hard for you to run the ball. That's kind of a situation where it could be a close game, and you kind of have to grind it out. So, we'll see. But I think if Clemson runs for 150 to 200 yards, I mean, I feel pretty good about Clemson winning this game.
John Blau covers the Clemson Tigers for the Post and Courier. You can find him on X at John_Blau, BLAU. John, my man, appreciate it, big dog. I will talk to you in a couple of weeks, man.
Sounds good. Thanks,
You
Brian.
got it. John Blau from the Post and Courier. We got to run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we'll have your audio blitz, and then we run you through everything else that happened over the weekend and everything that will happen tonight. But before we get there, ladies and gentlemen, Lonzo.
Who is also ornery. Over the weekend, the Atlanta Braves took the first two of a 4-game set against the LA Dodgers, but dropped game 3 last night, 9-2. The game was tied entering the 9th inning, but Raisel Iglesias had his worst inning of the year, giving up 5 hits and 5 runs in the final 3 outs to allow the Dodgers to pull away. The Braves and the New York Mets are currently tied for the final wildcard playoff spot with 13 games remaining. Frustration is growing in Charlotte as the Carolina Panthers were blown out again, this time by the LA Chargers, 26-3. Bryce Young went 18 of 26 with a career low 84 passing yards and 1 interception, while Carolina recorded just 90 rushing yards on the day compared to LA's 219. The Panthers dropped to 0-2 start this season. Tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. as the Burns Rebels head to Wade Hampton to take on the Generals. It's Burns versus Wade Hampton right here on your home for Burns Rebels football. It is us, the Fan, Upstate. Wow, I did one with no mistakes.
Yay!
First one of the day, probably the last one of the week.
All right, you Panthers fans still in the chat? Y'all want to get back to it? Got a little contentious there for a little ornery.
Not making fun of ornery. It is one of my favorite words. It's just the word I never expected him to use.
See, this is the take. It's everybody's a problem. Now, you want to argue Bryce is the biggest problem? I'll listen to it. But to say there ain't no problems with this roster, but the quarterback is just not it.
No.
Canales don't trust Bryce to stretch the field. I even if you don't.
As I saw on the stream, someone pointed out, or on X pointed out, this is the real reason why the last coach just ran a bunch of screens, because he knew that that's all Bryce could execute.
Listen, if that turns out to be the case, he's absolutely cooked. I wouldn't disagree with that if that's your reasoning. But I also said, remember, when you picked up Deontay, good wide receiver, he ain't exactly a long threat playmaker. I don't know that you have stretch the field talent in the wide receiver room. Maybe Xavier Legette turns into that. But again, remember, Legette's strength at South Carolina was not a deep ball. It was a throw it up and let that man just go get it, because he's a freak athlete at the college level. He ain't a freak athlete at the NFL level. He's got to take some taste.
Well, we don't know until he gets a quarterback who targets him and actually throws. And
again,
then we can
was
find
he
out.
untargeted because Bryce stinks, or was it because he just wasn't open? Because at college, he would just double move guys and they couldn't keep up with him. And that doesn't happen at the NFL level.
I don't know.
Again,
not a lot of reads happening. A lot of, let me throw the ball over there, which, the defense saw that's what he was doing. It was bad. I mean, you expect to see something. Friend of the show, Johnny Hecker, was good yesterday.
He's gotten a lot of practice. Underdeveloped quarterback, first-year head coach, scrubs from waivers and free agency, poor decisions in the draft, and a low draft capital. We're in for a long season. Yes, Kels, you're exactly correct. That's what I've been saying. But like I said, if you are in a set now where your belief, this is why I am absolutely. I was gonna say you'll destroy BY's confidence if you take him out now. I don't know what confidence there is to destroy. Honestly, I think it already is. So I'm fine with playing into Andy Dalton, if only to show it ain't just BY that's a problem. There's so many problems.
Carolina Adaptive Golf is a nonprofit charity helping individuals
Pulse said Canales is a Pop Warner coach. I mean, I will say the relentless positivity is getting annoying even to me.
He has secret villain vibes for me. The all bubbly, excited. His hair's too perfect. There's some things that's not. I mean, I sent
Team has
you.
not been built right even before Bryce got here. The owner and GMs have killed this team over the years. Let Tepper sleep in the bed he is made. I mean, I do feel like that's also accurate. I do feel like that's true. I do. I'll tell you what is driving me up a wall, and I do agree with this. I think that the effort at overwhelming positivity from Canales is grating. I will agree it is grating. I pride myself on the power of positivity.
Do you?
It's grating.
Okay.
Unless it's about me, in which case the sky is falling and everything's on fire.
Except for this show today.
Except for this show. This show is on fire today.
Mad World. Next break.
10-4. There is one person entirely, one person that I think is, aside from me, one person that I think on the Carolina Panthers team, which I am not, that I think is being genuinely honest about where the Panthers are right now. Yeah, I'm coming back to them for just a couple of minutes. All right. This is where we'll do our audio blitz most time. I'm actually going to do a Panthers audio blitz here because I got plenty enough stuff just to do it on the Panthers, and I'll do everything else from the weekend tomorrow. You know how your last day of school, you just kind of mailed it in? I'm not saying I'm mailing it in tomorrow. I'm just saying big audio blitz tomorrow.
I think you just said you were mailing.
Yeah, no, I tried to back it out. You didn't have to point it out. All right. Unnecessary.
Yeah, we got Lulu tomorrow. It's going to be a good
We do.
show.
We have Lulu Kesson coming in tomorrow.
It's basically Friday.
May have another special guest or two. I'll let you know. Here's what I will say. There's one person who is, in my opinion, being legitimate at this. I'll tell you right now. Dave Canales is kind of aggravating the crap out of me a little bit right now. I have been Team Dave. Okay? I was Team Dave when he got hired. I was Team Dave through the preseason. I'm not saying I've agreed with every coaching decision he's made, but hey, I'm not the head coach. It's not my job to agree or to make the policy.
Poof.
There is one person that I think from the team that has had the correct read on this, and it's Adam Thielen.
Change is we got to change what's happening. Now the other stuff, that's totally out of my control. That's above my pay grade. Like I said, I love Bryce to death, man. He works his butt off. He's a great player. This is not a Bryce Young issue. This is a offensive team issue. We are all in this together. I know football that's why I love this game with everything I have, because it is the greatest team game, because it's not about an individual. It's not basketball where you can have one or two good players and have success. In this league, in this game, you have to have 11 guys on the same page to have individual success. So there is no individual on this offense that is to blame. It's a collective thing, and I'm excited about where we can go. But we need to figure out a way to have urgency to get that done.
Whatever.
No, not whatever. I think it's spot on. It's ding, ding, ding correct.
It's coach's speak. I can't even speech myself. It's coach's speak. He said everything that you're supposed to say. I'm sure that's not exactly the sentiment for a good portion of, if not most of the players on that team.
Here's all I can say to you. All right. There comes a time, I think, in every conversation, not every conversation, in conversations like this, occasionally comes a time when you just have to say, we disagree and stop. And I feel like that's where we are here. Because as I pointed out earlier when we had Rashad Beard on, appreciate him coming
when
by.
you say we, you mean everybody and then you.
No, not and me. There were folks in the chat. Our chat was popping off while Rashad was in here. Still a bunch of Panther fans from the PMP Army by. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us on a Monday morning. There's a number of folks that pop by in the chat and said, look, man, like, again, BY is a problem right now. I'm not, if you think that you have heard me say that BY is not a problem, then I will do as I have had to do many times on the show. Listen to what I'm saying, not what you think I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I promise you, you're not going to find a lot of dudes who are going to not blow smoke like I will not blow smoke. I'm as honest as I can be with you, and I've told you why a million times. I want this team to be good for one reason and one reason alone, my paycheck. Because if the team's good, we can sell more advertising within their stuff. We can go on remotes. We can be involved with the team in activities in the area. If this team's good, I get more money. I don't know. It's just like I say when I break down football games. If somebody ain't willing to put their money where their mouth is, they just trying to get your attention for clicks. Okay? I put it up on my Twitter yesterday. I saw a post come through. I got a push notification on my phone yesterday that said, former NFL quarterback says Tom Brady may come out of retirement and sign with the Dolphins. And I'm like, no, in no world is that happening. There's no world that this happens. None. It's not happening. Okay? You know why they put that headline out? To get people like me to go, which quarterback was it? What does he know? And click that button. That's all this is.
Yeah,
this is why I am driven.
For a different team. So apparently any team that's struggling.
Any team that has a quarterback go down, you're going to see somebody get a mic and go, Tom Brady can come out of retirement and come play. No, he's not. Stop. This is why I get driven up a freaking wall by clickbait sports media. All right? I, much to the chagrin of the people I work for at times, refuse to give you obtuse, obscure, muddy headlines to get you to click on them. I'm going to tell you how I feel, okay? And here's how I feel. This team stinks. Nobody's arguing this team doesn't stink. What I'm saying is the people who say we stink, ... because Bryce Young, yes, but also so much more. Okay? So much more. Somebody said earlier, the scouting report on BY is if he doesn't get 2 seconds, he drifts left. You are correct. That is 100% correct. I want you to say the first part of that very slowly. If he doesn't get 2 seconds, the average clean pocket time in the NFL is 2.73 seconds to the 100th. 2.73 seconds is the average clean pocket time. So your complaint is if Bryce Young doesn't get 80% of the clean pocket time for the average NFL team, he drifts. Yeah. Do you know why? Because he doesn't even have average pocket time. And then again, as Rashad said, and he's right about this too, you can cherry pick play. If you're a BY guy, you can go cherry pick plays where he's got open receivers. I do not disagree. And you can cherry pick. The pick he threw was ass, dude. It was cheeks. It was bad. My man threw in it. Now, I saw why he did it. Because he thought the underneath linebacker was in his zone and was going to sit in that spot. He thought the break underneath was going to be clean. And to be honest with you, as I went back and watched that on the all-22 cam behind the line of scrimmage looking out, so did I. I thought the linebacker, I got tricked. So did Bryce Young. Now, I'm not an NFL QB1, so obviously, he's got to know better. But on that interview, he got tricked by the linebacker. It was a zone. He thought that linebacker was going to sit in that zone. He didn't. He drifted to the left. He made the pick. All right? It was a great defensive play. Also, he can't throw that ball. Again, we can all cherry pick plays to make our point. You got to look at the overall scope of things. But I can go point out a number of plays where he didn't have any. You do not have a down the field streak wide receiver. You know what the best thing happening in Derek Carr's life is right now? Future first ballot Hall of Famer Derek Carr?
He got a competent offensive coordinator.
Is a big one. And Clint Kubiak. No. The best thing going for him is Raheem Shaheed, the speedster, the guy that scored the first touchdown both against the Panthers and the Cowboys. Because as soon as Shaheed got deep and just beat the safeties, do you know what both Carolina and Dallas had to do the rest of the game? Their safeties had to be another 2 or 3 yards deeper. They had to be prepared for 22 to get behind him and cook him. And so what happens when they have to play deeper? What's that mean? The linebackers got to step back. Cornerbacks got to step back. Now there's a ton of breathing room for Derek Carr. And now all of a sudden, all those underneath shots to Olave, they're all there. All those underneath shots to Foster Moreau, a name you should not know, they're there. All those little screens to Alvin Kamara that did not work last year. Now all of a sudden they freaking work. Why? Because there's a threat. Carolina doesn't have that. And maybe they don't have that, or maybe you think they don't have that because Bryce doesn't have a deep ball in his arsenal. He did at Alabama. You think it disappeared? Yeah, is it going to be tougher to throw that ball? You're damn right it is. Because it's faster NFL receivers that are covered up by even faster NFL defensive backs. The fastest guys on your team play DB. All right? So, yeah, it's going to be tougher, but you think he just lost? That he probably just doesn't have it anymore? No, he does. You don't have a deep ball threat. Deontay Johnson's a good wide receiver. I told you this when you got him. Good wide receiver, but you're going to have to be real smart about diagramming your plays because he's not a deep ball threat. He's not a guy that you can just say, run the 9 and chunk it down there. My favorite offense, the Deontay down there somewhere offense. It's not going to work. You don't have that in the back. Derek Carr's got that in the back. He's got, at some point, Raheed's speed is going to be down there, and I'm just going to chunk it. It just happened to be that it was the first 2 touchdowns of the first 2 games. So if you're not going to give him that, then everything's got to be up. Why are you throwing short of the sticks? Because defenses aren't dumb. You know it's 3rd and 7. So do they. Where do you think? If they're playing a 4 across zone defense underneath, what do you think those 4 zones are? At the sticks. You have 2 options. Throw over the sticks, which you don't have the personnel for, or throw under the sticks and hope an athlete makes a play. That's it. That's all you got. I absolutely believe that Dave Canales' play calling, as questionable as it is quite. In fact, here, I got another clip for you. Dave Canales was straight up asked why so many 3rd down plays had routes that were going underneath the sticks.
Were those the play calls and the intended targets, or was Bryce taking those through?
Yeah, they're built in, but the whole thing, again, we have to evaluate, just trying to be able to make sure we're challenging the sticks, to try to, put us in ourselves in situations right there. But some of it was by design, and, there's the plays come off how they will, but in general, we had opportunities on both sides of 3rd down to make plays, and it comes down to making plays. But for sure, as the head coach and responsible for the offense, I have to make sure that I continue to work with our staff to really figure out what those things are that are going to give us a chance to be successful.
Honestly, I will give Canales one thing through the entire preseason. What did I praise Dave Canales specifically
for? You'll just give me $10. 2 months from now, that $10 is going to be $50. 3 months from now, that $50 is going to be $100. If you will invest in this scheme, then you'll see what happens. That's what he sounds like. That's exactly what he sounds like.
All right.
I don't know what he's supposed to say other than, hey, I inherited a really bad team. It's going to take some time to build it up into what we envision happening. This obviously is not the product that we thought we would have on the field. We had really strong practice, very disappointed in all the players, disappointed in all the coaches. And I understand why you're not coming to the stadium. We're going to do better, and we're going to get you in here.
Okay. Yes. And he cannot and will not say that. Okay. Yes. All that. Yes, I agree. All that is 100% true. Rob Brown and I endorse that message. All of that is correct. And also, he can't say that. You know he can't say that. I know he can't say that. He can't come out and go, hey, we suck. We suck. Don't buy tickets. He can't do that, which is what effectively that would
Well,
be.
they're already not buying tickets. So, I mean, I don't think it's possible for it to get any lower.
Sure. Rashad said yesterday on his post-game stream, he said he talked to the PSL holders in his section. He said consensus, they're not renewing for next year. As of today. Maybe that changes if the Panthers, click.
I sent you something during the break of a guy who's just quit doing his podcast.
Just shut down his Panther
It's
pod.
like, I'm done.
Yep. And again, I get it. Okay. But again, on the flip side, sometimes you are. How many times have I said this? And I know it kills some of you. I don't care because I'm right. Sometimes you are hamstrung by the equipment that you have. Sometimes you just can't do it. Much as you want to do a thing, you can't do a thing because you just don't have the gear for it. Okay? I use my NASCAR analogy all the time. You take the greatest driver in the history of racing, but if I stick him in a 98 Corolla, he cannot win the Daytona 500. He does not have the equipment to do that. Okay? That's kind of how I feel about where you are with this team. Is your wide receiver core better than it was last year? Yes. Yes. But that says more about how butt it was last year than it does about how good it is this year. Deontay's a good wide receiver. But on many, if not most teams, he's number 2. Not X. He's Y. All right? Adam Thielen is a good wide receiver. He is a slot wide receiver. Do you know what a slot wide receiver is for? It's for sitting underneath the X wide receiver wherever that X wide receiver drags coverage. The Z wide receiver, the slot wide receiver, is to find that spot, sit, present a target. Can't. Thielen is drawing man coverage. Why? Because they've got the man, because they're not afraid and feel like they have to double team anybody else. They're hamstrung. Your number 2 wide receiver is a guy that you were asking if he was going to make the football team this offseason, and John Mingo. Your 4th guy is a guy who is a rookie who, because as I've said a number of times, I know ball. I told you, I freaking love Xavier Legette.
That'll be great, man.
Big fan. But it's going to take him a year or 2 of development. He ain't Jamar Chase. He was used to just being a dominant physical presence at South Carolina. In the NFL, he's a very talented receiver, but he's another receiver. The equipment ain't there yet. So the play calling's hamstrung and the quarterback's hamstrung. End of argument. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
That world.
All right, guys, one more live and we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. respect to Toyota. Shout out Toyota.
So I threw it out there Saturday about what Matthews should play.
Yep.
Kazoo. No, I forgot I had a cowbell.
Okay.
Yeah, and so cowbell won. Someone said mouth harp.
Mouth harp would be a good one.
Yeah.
You don't know how to play it, and then it would just.
Well, that's the whole point. He's like, I can't play the cowbell. I was like, that's what makes it even better.
I can't play the trombone, but here we are.
Although the cowbell is probably heavier than him, so I don't know if maybe we can mount it somewhere. It's not the same. We told him he has to play it.
I do have a drum cowbell mic or mount. I think I still.
Yeah, but you can't swivel your hips when you do that. Or maybe you can. That's all we care about.
Swivel your hips. What a weird day yesterday was in the National Football League. I mean, honestly, a shock of a week in the National Football League. We wrap it up tonight with the Falcons and the Eagles. Well, let's take a look at some of the games that took
I'm
place.
trying to think if I was shocked by anything. And San Francisco, that's probably the only thing I was shocked by.
San Francisco, Detroit.
Not entirely shocked by
Not
that.
shocked by Tampa beating Detroit
No,
in Detroit.
No, because Tampa is better than what they're being given credit for.
I think Tampa is better than the given, and I also I'd be lying to tell you I have some concerns about Detroit, which was the second most popular bet to win the NFC this year behind San Francisco, who also lost. I think again, it's 2 weeks in, and let me be very clear.
Mondays are for overreaction. So I mean,
Mondays are for overreactions. If we weren't booked up with so many interviews today, we would have done a traditional overreaction Monday. Instead, what we will do is we'll do an overreaction Tuesday after we do Monday Night Football tonight. Again, Falcons Eagles tonight at 8:15. But we'll do an overreaction Tuesday, as well as hand out our
that is not real
awards. All at the same time tomorrow on the show. Lulu Kesson, by the way, also scheduled to join us tomorrow at 9:00 to talk Gamecock football. But there are some Hey, you remember when Jim Mora was the head coach of the Saints and he said, playoffs? I just hope we can win another game.
Yeah, my favorite thing is when he said diddly poo. But that's just me. I mean, because I didn't know that existed until then.
Jim Mora was talking with the television station in New Orleans, Louisiana, after the New Orleans Saints game yesterday.
Jim, I want to put you on the spot here. During the game,
put me on the spot.
During the game, you sent me a text. What did that text say?
Holy these Saints are for real, something like that, right? I'm telling you now, they are legit, impressive in every phase. I'm excited about them.
Yeah, me too, Jim. Me too, Jim. Kind of very, to be honest.
I don't know,
with you.
though. You're not wearing any Saints gear today. I thought you would be head to toe Saints gear.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Lonzo. I woke up at like 5:20 for a 6 a.m. show. All right. I try. I admit my shortcomings in public. I woke up at like 5:20, or else, I would have been adorned in the black and gold. I will be tomorrow.
To the powers that be, he was here with plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
That's right. And we've had a killer show.
We have had a killer show.
So I mean, so there.
We have had a phenomenal show because, and just so we are clear,
we've talked about a lot of losing today until now, while you're talking about the Saints, who are not losers presently.
No, not only not losers, but they've scored more points than anybody in the NFL. They haven't punted yet. Who's our punter? Nobody knows.
For you.
I know, it feels good. And by the way, just keep in mind, I told you all off season the Saints are going to be incredible this year. Never a doubt. Never a doubt. I told you all off season this team is going to kick ass. Dennis Allen, what a genius. What a brilliant man. Anybody who's ever said that they wanted to fist fight Dennis Allen on site is a clown, and you should never listen to them. But we didn't say that. Not on this show.
Never
Not on
would
this
happen.
show. Never a doubt. That was. Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna say that was. I think Saints 44, Dallas 19 maybe was the biggest shock of the weekend.
All right. So as far as optimism goes, I know it's within your nature, even though you may try to deny it, to be negative about your own team. This is the most positive I've seen you be about your team since I've known you. And I am, I'm happy for you, by the way. But,
I'm happy for me too.
But how much of it is real? How much do you feel in your core that this 2 games in? I mean, is it the little quiet thing going, hey, we can do this again? We've been there once before. We can do this again. Or is it, yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to ride this, but they're going to flop next week.
I am waiting for the crush of reality. Keegan and I were texting back and forth during the game. And Derek Carr, who had been incredible all day, throws an awful pass. I mean, just missed his guy, Olave, across the middle. It gets tipped and picked off. And Keegan and I texted back and forth at the same time. Oh God, here we go. Here it is. We're gonna give up a 30-point lead in the last quarter. Dallas ended up scoring 3 points with 2 interceptions and 3 failed 4th down conversions in the 4th quarter. Now, I will say this, jokes aside, Saints defense was not a question. I did say that. And I will give Dennis Allen credit for this. I have put Dennis Allen, and by the way, he is still there because Dennis Allen isn't the solution. Clint Kubiak is. You ready? You ready for what I know is coming down the pipe, great one? What I know is an inevitability? Somebody's going to fire their head coach this offseason, and they're going to hire Clint Kubiak on the spot. I'm going to get 1 year with Clint Kubiak as my offensive coordinator, and he's going to go be a head coach because we're going to let Kubiak walk and keep Dennis Allen, and we will go right back to being booty cheeks.
All right. So enjoy it, dude. Enjoy it while you got it.
Oh, I am.
I mean, are they going to win every game? Probably not. But as long as they're competitive and playing like they have the first 2 games, I mean, that's pretty cool for you.
I texted my mother and brother in our group chat during the game yesterday, and I was like, am I allowed to enjoy this? I don't know how to feel about this. Like, am I allowed to enjoy this, or do I need to go ahead and prepare myself for the inevitable crush of reality that is coming down the pipe when we go like 4-0, scoring 40 points in all of them, and then turn around and just bleep the bed for the back half of the season?
Let's hope they don't play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl because the refs will help the Chiefs win.
Yes, they will.
So there's that.
It was a good call. Sorry, Joe Burrow fans. You know I'm team Joey Ice baby, but it was a good call. It was the correct call yesterday. I don't know what to tell you. It was pass interference. Buccaneers 20, Lions 16. Baker damn Mayfield.
Will you say his name like it should be said?
Baker!
There we go.
Baker damn Mayfield. What an absolute dude. There was and I'm trying to find it. I got it on the sound roster somewhere. But Baker Mayfield, after the game was over, had this incredible moment where he was kind of talking about his journey to find himself and become the quarterback that he knew he could be. And I got to tell you, man, like, I don't like rooting for divisional rivals, but it's real hard not to pull for Baker Mayfield. Oh, crap. Why is it now switching over? Hang on. I got this. I got it.
Accepted by you.
You know, it's never an individual effort. It's not. I can't say enough about our defense. That is not an easy team to play against. And them, you know, they're going for it, fake punts, going for it on a 4th down. Our defense holding up in the end right there. That's not easy. So I can't say enough about those guys. You know what? Honestly, not horrible clock management on my part in that last drive right there. Got to make them take a timeout to where they can't have an extra one. So it's always good to learn lessons when you win. But we can be better on offense. But this is a tough game, tough environment. And I'm so proud of our guys, the way we hung in there.
Let me ask you, as you're learning these lessons, it's why Todd Bowles said, we don't know who we are just yet. Yeah. So after a great win last week that was relatively easy, and now this tough one, what have you learned about this team with 2-0?
It's a resilient group. Everybody trusts each other, and that's the biggest part. There's a lot of trust within this group, and that goes a long way in tight ball games like this. So, like I said, I can't say enough about this group. I'm so proud of them.
All right, so that was a live band going on behind them. I'm trying to figure out what the song is.
It was Post Malone Sunflowers.
Okay, well, but when the song was over, they were applauding. Was he actually performing there?
No, the Lions were still making their little thanks for coming out. Well, I guess not victory loop. Baker was doing this. Interview was with freaking hell. I forgot who was interviewing.
I have a question, and as a knower of ball, you might be able to answer this. Has Baker been given the keys to the stadium yet?
Does he live there yet?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, because it was Tom's house, and Tom has moved on. So I mean, has he been given the keys yet?
I do not know. What I can say is that dude sounds like a mature for a guy who has been knocked, whether it was in Cleveland or golly, Lord knows he took his lumps in Carolina as if it was his fault. By the way, just to keep you in the loop, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold now not only have wins over San Francisco and Detroit between their two teams, but since leaving Carolina, the two quarterbacks have thrown 46 touchdowns and 14 picks.
Maybe it's not just the quarterback, huh?
Oh, God. It's not that you broke the glass. It's the fact that you went full Jean-Luc Picard facepalm when you did.
All right, according to Ian Rappaport, Chiefs star running back Isaiah Pacheco, who left the stadium in a walking boot and crutches, fractured his fibula based on initial tests.
Oh, no.
More information coming to determine the severity and associated damage, but Pacheco is set to miss real time.
Real time? I would say like real time, like the season.
Well, I mean, fracture could be, it's a fracture. Daggone it.
Yeah, that's real bad. That's real, especially for how gutsy that guy was with the football yesterday.
I hope Gator's ready, and I hope he can hang on to the football because he's probably going to get the ball a lot more.
I hope Gator is. I hope Gator's.
I felt so bad when he fumbled the ball, but he got it punched right out of there. He's got to get. He has the same kind of running style. I don't know if he picks up the load. I'm sure Andy will. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was on some kind of leave, I think. I don't know if he's on the IR. Maybe they bring him back. I don't know. But it's
Man,
Pacheco.
I have a choice.
But Pacheco, that is a big loss.
It is. I'm comfortable saying this yesterday. Mahomes had a bad day yesterday, and Pacheco saved him. That's how good Isaiah Pacheco was yesterday, without a doubt.
James says it's KC, so 2 weeks. Remember when
the doctors always help Kansas City?
Yeah, they do.
Damn doctors are cheating.
When Mahomes dislocated his knee, it was just like and they pushed it back in place, and like he missed one game. Nah, this does not sound good.
No, it does not sound good at all. Baker Mayfield, 12 of 19 for $185 a touch and a pick, 5 carries, 34 yards. The Bucs only had 70 rushing yards.
Really quick, breaking news brought to you by.
Brought to you. That's a very good call. Thank you, Lonzo. That's why you're executive. Brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, and beat the books. Don't forget to listen on the BetQL network to bet for the cycle every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network. Except, BetQL will host Bet for the Cycle this weekend.
You can still listen to the show. Just because you're not there doesn't mean the show's not any good when you're not there.
That's true.
Not nearly as good, but it's still probably pretty good.
It'll be real good this weekend because my dog, Jay Kassan is like, you know how there's that dude in your life that's the baseball guy? Jay Kassan is the baseball guy. He's the dude that you go, hey, I wonder what the batting average is of left fielders in this stadium against righties at night is. And Jake's like, oh, that's 217. Like he's great. Jay Kassan and Jeremy Kahn, who is the host of the morning show in Baltimore, Maryland. Real funny guy. Next Saturday, it'll be Jay Kassan and Cody Decker. And then the Saturday after that, Rob Brown will make his triumphant return to Bet for the Cycle with Cody Decker. Will not be there this weekend or next weekend. We'll be there the weekend after that. So thanks to our friends at BetQL. I can't tell you how proud I am of Baker Mayfield. Because all of the criticisms and all of the jokes and all of the hits on his maturity and all that, Baker Mayfield in this game and in life in general right now feels like that prototypical quarterback. But also he's going to go down there and do some awesome stuff on the football field and make you go, oh, this guy's fun. But it feels less focused on the FUD, more focused on the dub. And all of a sudden, the NFC South looks like it's a 2-horse race. We'll find out.
He is one of those guys that a lot of people want to fail for some reason.
Because people hate fun.
I guess.
Honestly, I'm not even joking about that. People despise. I have come to the conclusion, and maybe this is just Rob's getting old. This is your get the hell off my lawn moment of the day. But I'm coming to the conclusion that people hate people who enjoy things. Honestly, do me a favor. Go on social media today and enjoy something. Just go enjoy anything. And if you put out into the atmosphere that you're enjoying this thing, there will be people that come in and go, actually, it's not fun and you're stupid for enjoying yourself. People hate fun. Baker Mayfield has fun. I like that. I appreciate that. All right, when we come back, let's look down the rest of the college and NFL scoreboard from the weekend, talk about some of the more surprising results of the weekend. We'll do that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
So according to Bleacher Report, Trevor Lawrence hasn't won a football game since Thanksgiving last year. He is 0-7. Yeah. Still going to blame Urban on that one?
Yes. But then I will also
By the way, did you read your email?
I will also blame world hunger on Urban. I will blame nuclear weapon warfare on Urban Meyer. It's all on Urban.
If you haven't read your...
And that makes me sad.
Okay.
Football legend Emmitt Smith. Some of the most fascinating advances are happening with the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. I'm talking about natural regenerative treatments for joint pain without surgery or harmful drugs. Tens of thousands of patients have discovered these breakthroughs firsthand at QC Kinetics.
So my son and I were having a discussion, I think it was yesterday, it might have been Saturday, about what is an adult. Because I don't know what that is. And I mean, I guess I don't dress like an adult. I know I don't act like an adult. I don't have an adult job. I don't have adult hobbies. So what is being an adult? Is it pulling your shorts up over your navel? Is it getting a little boy haircut and saying it's an adult haircut? What is an adult? I don't know what that is.
It is.
And who defines what an adult is? Is it society? Is it your peer group? Is it the government? I mean, who decides what being an adult is?
Adult has a definition, which is a fully grown Homo sapien, human being. And if you want a what kind of word am I looking for here? If you want a more I think linguistic definition, I would say it is a fully grown person. I mean, fully grown person is the definition, but I would also say it is someone who has, accepts, and executes the responsibility. You have done so as a parent, as a radio professional, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think it has anything to do with hobbies and all that. You have responsibilities. You know them, you understand them, and you fulfill them.
By the way, I don't care if people think I'm an adult or not. I was just curious about what society can, what the exact, if you polled like 100 people from various different states, would it be a different definition of what an adult is? By certain definitions, I'll never be an adult, and that's fine until I get a real job. But, you know.
And who wants that?
Yeah, I want a real job. I talk to wrestlers and play kitten sounds on the air. Why would I want to grow up? I think the email made me think about that a little bit more. But, you know. Because we're all going to be done eventually. So after this Saturday, will you officially be an adult now?
No, I think I've been an
in
adult.
the eyes of some
I'll be a
people
married
who believe that that's one of the major steps of being an adult.
I will agree with you that I don't particularly give a damn how anybody else feels about me. I care about how my family feels about me, how my friends feel about me, and how I feel about me.
So anyway, old people in Walmart, I don't care if you don't like my hair. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Or if you want to see my receipt after I self-check out.
There you go.
Taking a look back at the football weekend that was, some of the more surprising stats and storylines out of the National Football League, and then we'll do some for the college game as well. Saints 44, Dallas 19, Tampa 2016 winners over Detroit. Anthony Richardson did not look good against the Pack. 204, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions in this game. Not a great stat line for him. The result not that shocking, even if Malik was out there. I think, however,
isn't it though? Because I think a lot of people were praising the quarterback that's hurt right now, and saying that he's the next coming of Aaron Rodgers, of Brett Favre, and maybe it's just the system and not the quarterback.
No, I'm not going to go that far. I think they win this game much more comfortably if Jordan Love plays.
Do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I think if Jordan Love plays, there's a handful of misses Malik made that I don't think Jordan Love
I
does.
think you picked them to lose. I'm just going to say.
Not this week. I did not.
I'm pretty sure you did.
I absolutely did not.
No. I'm pretty sure because you were poo-pooing Malik. I do.
No, what I said was quite the opposite. Malik played like 17 snaps in Tennessee and everybody wrote him off. Quite the opposite. I said he played like 17 snaps in Tennessee and they shipped him out of town, and I thought it was premature and preemptive, and we were going to find out he won the game. But that's not the story. That's not the story. There's only one story out of this game. There's only one story that needs to be discussed. Late in the game, it's 3rd down and a lot to go. They line up with Josh Myers over the football. He's the center. And right before Malik took the snap on what was a roll-out pass play to try to gain the 1st down, keep the clock moving, move the sticks, etc., as Josh Myers got down on the ball and prepared to snap the ball, Josh Myers had a bit of the tummy rumblies. And Josh Myers puked all over the football. Full-on exorcist puke, too. Not like a little dribble, just like a fountain went off inside of his helmet. Matt LaFleur was asked after the game, hey, how come Malik didn't throw that ball?
Yeah, I asked Malik why he didn't throw the ball on that 3rd down, and he told me that Josh threw up on the ball. I was like, that's the first time I've ever heard that. Matter of fact, the official came over to me, Sean came over to me and said, we saw your center thrown up on the ball. Do you want us to take him out next time? I said, absolutely. Please do that, because, you're talking about a critical situation, and it's 3rd down, and I've never had a throw with vomit on a football. So I don't know. I don't think Malik probably didn't appreciate that.
I could be wrong here, but I'm relatively sure that the list of quarterbacks who have thrown a football covered in vomit is Malik Willis, and that's probably it.
I'm just going to say this. If it was baseball, he would have been thrown out of the game for using a foreign substance. That's all I'm going to say.
It's not what sticky stuff means, but here we are.
Yeah.
But here we are. All right. Aaron Rodgers gets his first win as a New York Jets, 24-17, in a game that I am going to say the Titans farted away. Golly, they were so good in the first half and then just completely and entirely the bed in the second half. Unbelievable. Vikings knock off the 49ers 23-17. And would you look at this? Sam Darnold, 17 of 26, 268, a pair of tutties and a pick. Ladies and gentlemen, reports of the demise of the Minnesota Vikings may have been exaggerated. They're 2-0 with a win over the reigning defending NFC champions. Granted, no run CMC in this game as he went to the IR for a 4-week stint, but Jordan Mason showed up again, 20 totes, 100 yards, and a tutty on the ground for him. Purdy, 28 of 36, 319, a touch and a pick. But Sam Darnold gets the win with 268 passing yards. Minnesota also got a $146 on the ground, and the Vikings, all of a sudden, they kind of look like the best team in the NFC North. We're only 2 weeks in. Everybody relax. I've said this 100 times, and I'll say it 100 more. Teams deciding.
Better than your boy.
Which boy?
That would be, your guy, your highly touted guy for Chicago.
Oh, Caleb?
Just want to point out, yeah, that's your guy.
Eberflus.
I don't know how many times I have to say it.
Uh-huh.
Eberflus stinks. I don't know why he's still the coach of that team. I genuinely do not understand. Here's the problem you have in Chicago, not just that Caleb Williams had a 2-pick night. On top of that, Caleb Williams was the leading rusher in this game. Their other players altogether had 27 rushing yards. Caleb Williams had 44. All the other, it's not just that Caleb Williams was a leading rusher. It's that he was a leading rusher even if you combine every other rusher. This team is led by an inept head coach. It's clear. It's obvious. There's no disputing this. It is a fact.
Someone posted, you must be a sick person to enjoy the Saints beating the Cowboys and the Vikings beating the 49ers.
Justin Fields, 13 of 20, $117, 1 touchdown as the Steelers knock off the Broncos. Bo Nix had a pair of picks. Again, that's a nowhere ball. Less about Justin Fields, more about the fact that Denver stinks. I told you this. Oh, Justin Fields he was 13 of 20 for $117. Denver stinks. Bo Nix stinks.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
We'll do college ball tomorrow.
No, I did it early on purpose.
No, you were correct.
No, on purpose because
Justin Fields is trending?
Yes, that's the first thing. Just because, just to leave that guy you said would not start, and he's like 2-0. He's 2-0. I mean, you can make yes. Russell Wilson is hurt.
He's 2-0 for less yardage than Derek Carr threw for in either of his 2 individual games.
So Derek Carr has tore it up for 2 games. I don't know if that's did he?
Sir, that's future first ballot Hall of Famer Derek Carr to you.
I apologize. That's a lot of words for
right?
me to say, and I don't have that much time. It's I just Justin Fields.
If you think Justin Fields is tearing it up, I don't know what to say. He's fine.
He's undefeated. Not bad for a guy who,
of course.
who was washed up in Chicago.
And as we all know,
and you said would not start.
Eberflus.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Eberflus. The guy's butt.
Yeah, and Urban Meyer was Sunshine's problem. Anyway, the next thing that's Xing is Tito Jackson.
What? What?
It was a good transition, I thought.
Tito Jackson, which is the first time the words Tito Jackson have been said in a very long time. I have no idea. Is it his birthday?
Be respectful.
Did he pass?
Yes, he did.
Oh. Oh, why?
I think it's still okay to crack on Tito because he got cracked on his entire life. But still, yeah, Tito has passed away.
Rip other Jackson.
Yeah, I don't know how many of the Jackson 5 are left. Michael's gone. Tito's gone. I think Jermaine's still around, but I could be wrong.
So Jermaine, Janet, and the other one.
Well, Janet was not in. Were you talking about LaToya? There were more. Yeah. There were more Jacksons. There was Jackson 5, and Janet was not a part of the 5. Okay, she was an excellent actress on Good Times, and then she was exposed on the air.
Oh no!
In front of millions of people.
A boobie.
Yeah.
We're under attack. A boob.
It was also a work. There was also a work
100% it was a work.
There were pasties involved.
100% it was a work. It wasn't a pasty. It was a ring.
Wow. Look at you.
I was like 14. What do you think I was doing?
Did you rewind it many times?
No, we didn't have DVRs yet.
Okay.
It was in the VHS
you could have had a VHS. You could have covered it by putting like a different name on the front or something.
We had scramble vision. I didn't need Janet's boob.
Okay. There you go. All right. The next thing that's Xing is your other boy, Sean Payton.
I mean, you know what? I gotta find some famous person saying, told you, so that I can just make that my soundboard clip.
I'm sure they're out there. There's probably a ton of those that you can find.
Told you. Turns out Rod Brown knows what he's talking about.
All right.
One day you'll log on to listen.
All right. The next, just because everything else is kind of like that I have left. The next thing that's Xing is Billy Napier.
Billy lost his job at halftime. He'll be on the audio blitz tomorrow because one reporter said, hey, the Gator fans were booing your team yesterday. And his response was, yeah, I understand. I would have booed too. Ooh, Florida's in the state of Florida right now, with the exception of Miami, stinks.
And
Jacksonville stinks. Miami stinks. It's Tampa and Miami. Oh.
By the way, Florida is a wonderful place for a wedding. So not everything stinks. Or
St. Augustine's amazing.
There we go. All right. And the last thing that's Xing, staying along those lines, the other guy, David Tepper.
Good Lord. What is X today? Just a complete show.
It's a firing line. And when I say that, I don't mean like a firing squad. I mean a bunch of people who should be fired.
I mean, it turns out I don't think, and I could be wrong about this, I don't think Dave Tepper's going to fire Dave Tepper. I could be wrong.
He could be fired by the league. It's possible.
It's the only out.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the only. I said it earlier this week, and I'll say it again. Carolina pants.
Are you wearing your Carolina pants today?
Carolina pants, which is where you pay $9.99 a month to be humiliated. The only way Tepper is gone is if the rest of the owners go, dude, you suck so bad you are costing us money now. That's the cardinal sin you can't commit in the NFL. Hey, that's it for it. We're back tomorrow. Make sure you're here because it's a 4-hour extravaganza, and then I'm gone for a week and a half. All right, so be here tomorrow. Let's have some damn fun. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. For Alonzo, I'm Rob. Have a lovely rest of your day. We're back tomorrow to try better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later.
It's good. It's good. The job is done. We can go home now.
All right, dudes and dudettes, you're all amazing people, but I have so much to do. James said Scramble Vision was a great time to be alive. No, it wasn't, James. It was awful. It was awful. It was awful. However, some of y'all 100% snuck up at night for that and tried to not wake your parents up with that dial-in internet.
He's lying. He's a 1%er. And they had all those unscrambled. They had a big satellite dish.
I think my mother had Skinamax in the
No,
house.
if you had one of those big satellite dishes, you could watch anything.
Skinamax. All right, that's it for us because I have a lot of things to do to try to get ahead of a 2 week and a half long vacation that I will inevitably not accomplish, but I'm going to try my best anyway. Thanks for being here. Have a lovely rest of your day. You're all spectacular people. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. And we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.